London's LBC 97.3.
Hello.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
We shall begin by being absolutely frank with each other.
Well, the weather has taken a change. It was like spring yesterday. Gambling about in my cosy I was, Luz.
I know, it was a fetching sight.
Mentally, anyway. And, well, before we start, can you turn the TV off, please, Chris? Because I'll just sit here watching it. I'll go to the fridge,
there we go.
Get some wine, packet of crisps, and for the next 3 hours, that'll be me. You see, unlike women who can do 10 different things at once, I, like the rest of the male population in the whole wide world, concentrate the laser-like precision of our mind onto only one thing at a time. And if the TV's on, then that's it. I'm gone. I'll just stop speaking.
Mouth open.
Yeah.
Gazing at TV.
Yeah.
Catching flies.
Exactly. It's a nightmare out there. And guess what you're going to be doing tomorrow? Or is it today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh. Flying.
Oh, horrible.
3 different storms are going to be attacking us all at the same time.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, all from different directions.
You're cheering me up.
This giant eddy will start to form around about, the airport that you're leaving from, as a matter of fact, and you'll be sucked up into it. Up and away. And no matter how many times you click your red slippers together, you'll never go home.
It's starting from where?
Look on your face.
Oh, I hate flying so much. I've even tried fear of flying courses and I still hate it.
A fear of flying course?
Yeah, I have.
Hypnotists?
No, you do a whole day where you go to, I went to Gatwick, and you're all in a room, all people who are petrified of flying, and you kind of understand everything about the plane, because a lot of it really for your sort of fear is about control.
No, the fear is smashing into the ground at 500 miles an hour.
Well,
desperately scrabbling under your seat to see if you can get the life jacket with a little whistle on the end.
And how often does that happen?
Oh, about once every other journey.
But you have to establish what your fear is, you see, and so once you can pinpoint that, you have to understand it.
Are you one of these people that has to remain awake and alert at all times in case your lack of concentration will cause the plane to crash?
Well, it used to be like that for me. I used to want to run into the pilot all the time and ask him what on earth he was doing and why he wouldn't stop the plane rocking about.
Of course, these days that would be met with...
Well, I just seem to have a lot of unfortunate journeys, which didn't really help, so, you know.
I think if you don't like the vegetarian option from the stewardess, you get shot these days, don't you? They're completely power mad there now.
What are the veggie meals like? Presumably you've been eating those for the last 20 years, have you?
I did order a vegetarian option once, and I think it very much depends. It can be pleasant, because they can make it for you specially. On the other hand, it can be just fridge scrapings.
Oh.
Just whatever the ordinary meal is without the focus of that meal. Like, you just remove the meat, they give the rest of it to you.
What, the hamburger bun?
Well, whatever it is, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I stopped ordering them. I just take what everybody else is getting and just pick underneath.
Ugh.
Bit of soggy lettuce.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bit of cress.
Oh, you just take your own food. I mean,
you can't now, can you?
Huh?
Can you take food on now?
Only if it's transparent.
Right. That rules out many things.
Really? You're not allowed to take your own food on a plane now?
Well, I doubt it. If you can't take liquid, why would you be able to take food?
Oh.
Unless you bought it through duty free.
I think you can, but you have to
It mustn't
nibble
be a
it in front.
milkshake.
You have to nibble it in front of them before you board the plane. So to prove it's not poisonous.
Right.
Nibble.
Just, well, you know.
Rather than take a great hulking bite. Right. Well, I'm going to have to check everything in, even though it's not very far. I'm going to have to check it in because I've got contact lens solution, and apparently you can only take 100 mils of liquid, so I'm stuffed with that, really.
It seems crazy, really, doesn't it? Because there was apparently this great plan, so well led to believe. There's no evidence that we've seen, but that's what they said to us, you know, constantly keeping us in off-kilter and in a frame of fear in order to, you know, further keep us under the thumb. That could be one of the things they're doing, or they might be being absolutely truthful with us at all times. Yeah. But they said that, you know, there was this plan to blow up planes with water or a substance that looked just like it. And then they turned around a couple of weeks later and said, oh, that's all gone now. No, they won't be doing that anymore. You can carry on and you take as much of the stuff on as you like. Well, hang on a minute. I mean...
But you can't,
What happened to the plan?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if you can take a little bit of water, it only takes a small explosion to blow up a plane loose. Just the tiniest little explosion.
Thank you.
People bring on their own egg sandwiches, and the explosion that results...
Well, I don't think it would have
personal or
much
otherwise.
impact going to Guernsey, would it? Blowing up a plane to Guernsey.
No, you'd be over water. So that little light that you'll see on the end of your, your... What do they call them?
I don't know.
Life jacket.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it comes with a whistle and a light.
Yeah. That'll save me.
Yes. Which would be really useful as you're floating face down, having smashed into the ocean.
Keep you
At
entertained.
500 miles an hour.
And with the howling gales around
Yeah.
me, even nicer.
That's right. Sharks nibbling at
The
your
short
toes.
journeys are worse, though, I think, with the weather when it's like that, because you don't go up so high, do you? So I feel like you never get past it.
And plus you'll be on a plane that was made in the 1930s.
Thanks.
A prop plane. There's something
It's
about
not, I
propeller...
don't think it's a prop plane. No, it's a
I
jet
like
plane.
prop planes.
Do you?
Well, just the sound of them. They're more organic. You know, what are you making that face for?
Oh, it just fills me with horror, the thought of hearing it all like that. It's bad enough.
Well, people have been flying successfully with propellers far longer than they've been flying successfully with jets.
Right.
It's just the sound that a jet makes. It's like a banshee scream from hell, don't you think? And there's no way of getting away from it almost anywhere in this country, particularly if you live anywhere by the river. It's every 3 minutes it's screaming over you. But every so often a propeller plane comes over and it's like, ooh, suddenly it's like being in a black and white film. It sounds organic, as though it were alive.
Yeah.
I like them.
But it doesn't. But I need to hear it sounding as powerful as possible, because I feel a bit safer then. So preferably, I'd rather be in the hugest jet possible.
Right. Because when you crash, you want to be going as quickly as humanly possible.
Oh.
You don't want to glide to a halt.
No.
Just smash into
You
a
can
thousand
glide
pieces.
for ages though.
Sure you can.
You can glide for
Yeah.
half an hour.
Oh yeah.
And what, until it goes...
Until you land
smash
into a
the
mountain.
ground. Yeah.
If you were above the Earth's atmosphere at the time the plane's engines stopped, yeah, you could glide for half an hour. Are you joking, Luce? But at the 10,000 feet that you'll be flying at, you'll barely have time to check your watch.
Right. Okay. Oh, can't wait.
And remember, aisle, wing, seat.
Yeah, I prefer the aisles, actually. Much prefer them.
Yeah.
You don't have people crawling over you.
What?
Or are you... I know, you don't have to crawl over them to get back to your seat all the time.
Yeah.
Why do you think I should go for an aisle seat?
Aisle, wing, seat.
So what, near the exit?
Well, no, the wings are the strongest part of the
Ooh.
plane.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
right.
you don't want to go near the wings. The wings are the...
You've got the jets there near
yeah, but
you. They'll slice
the
you up,
wings
won't they?
contain all the fuel.
Yeah.
So you crash into the ground at 500 miles an hour, the wings are going to go up first, aren't they?
I thought the fuel was at the rear of the plane.
No.
What, in the boot?
I've had to pay extra for my luggage as well. How annoying is that?
Well,
I don't even want to put my luggage in, but I have to because of my blooming lenses.
Should have stuck
how
to the
big are your
limit.
lenses?
Not very big, but because of the liquid I can't carry as hand luggage. Because I can't be having a little sip of that, can I? Bit of wetting and soaking solution, I have to put my luggage in.
Contact lens solution, you can't even take that on a plane.
No, it's liquid.
Are you making this up?
No, I'm not making
You're
this
guessing,
up.
aren't you?
No, I'm not. I have to put it in.
So you have to put your contact lens solution, which is about a bottle of about an
It's-
inch tall.
well, it's
in
150
a giant
mils.
suitcase.
I checked it. It's 150 mils, and of course, if you only add 100, and then that doesn't account for the cleaning solution, which is a 30 mil bottle.
So you're going to have to put that in a
So-
suitcase.
Yeah.
In the hold.
So I'll just stick it all in. Yeah. Got to. What about toothpaste? What does that count as? Liquid?
I've got no idea. This is all just too silly.
Well,
Isn't it, really? I mean, they're allowing people to get on planes without actually seeing their face. They could be anybody. Going by in a sheet, they are. Handing their passport, and... under what circumstances does that sound like it makes any sense? And they're looking at the passport, and they're looking at the person, and they can't see the person at all. I mean, they might as well not be there. They might as well be wearing a suit of armour. And they're saying, yes, right you are, carry on board. That's just mad. I mean, that person, do we think that person was bodily searched in any way to see if they were carrying on explosive bottles of water? Of course not.
No.
Believe me, there's no such thing as security at the airports, or in fact anywhere else.
Oh.
It's a thinly made veil, if you'll pardon that word, in order to make you feel better.
Oh, I can't, come on, there is security.
There isn't, obviously not. Someone just left the country without anybody seeing who they were. They got on a plane without any checks about what they were, who they were, or
I know,
what
but
they were
that has been highlighted to us as a special case, hasn't it?
So it's just another example on the daily craziness of what goes on at the airports. Because put yourself in the position of the people that are actually manning security. Who are they? Security guards. Right, just because they've got a cap and they're working in an airport and they have armed backup doesn't mean to say that they're geniuses with degrees in mechanical engineering and bomb sniffing expertise. They're just poor blokes who couldn't get a job doing anything else, so they sit there looking at people's luggage go by and can conveyor belt all day long and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They must be bored out their minds.
Are you sure?
So they're not the brightest bulbs in the box, no offence, but it's true. They're just security guards.
I can't believe they're just security guards. They must have more training than that.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. I cannot believe for a second that anyone can just be a security guard in an airport to check all our luggage. I can't believe that.
You're holding on to that, aren't you, Luce?
I won't believe it. I will not.
Happy flying. It's 3:15. Here's Travel with Amanda Redman.
Nick Abbot.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
White City. Hello, Sarah.
Hey there, how are you doing?
I am all right.
Okay, so I'm calling about anyone can be a security guard there.
Yeah.
Because at Sussex Uni, they were looking for students and people to be one of the security guard checkers there at the airport at Gatwick.
They're doing what?
They're trying to recruit students.
At Sussex University?
Yes.
They're trying to get graduates to be security guards?
Yes.
Well, good luck with that.
So there are advertisement posts there, and so I sent away for an application.
How much, what's the starting salary?
I think it was £7 an hour. I don't know. It was a couple of years ago.
Are you listening to it, Luce?
Yes,
Does this
I am.
underline everything that I just said? £7 an hour. Wow, you could probably almost earn that at McDonald's. Yeah.
So they sent me an application.
What was that?
Oh, sorry. That's me answering the phone.
They sent me an application, and you had to tick off if you've been accused of or arrested for certain crimes on there. And so the crimes there, I'm American, and they're all sort of British.
Was that one of the crimes?
No. So I couldn't figure out, I saw something that said attempted burglary, but it wasn't burglary, it was buggery, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So apparently it's okay if you've actually done it. If you've committed buggery, you can get the job there, but attempted buggery.
Right, that's right. You can break and enter, but no attempted breaking and entering. No, that's right.
Yes. So basically, I think anyone could be a guard there if they're going after college students.
I know. And does that make you happy flying?
No.
Not really. In fact, it makes the entire experience really irritating, doesn't it? Because going past security now is a nightmare, and you're queuing and queuing and queuing, and they're being very officious, and you can't step out of line or question their authority in any way, shape, or form, or they'll come down on you like a ton of bricks. But you know that the whole thing is just a facade. It's just a silly game that they're playing in order to make us feel better that we're actually safer in the air. But the truth is, we're not. Anyone can take on anything. Every time the editor of a tabloid newspaper, and Lucy's face is dropping with every word I say, every time a tabloid news editor has got a slow day, they'll say to one of their reporters, go see if you can get a bomb on board a plane, or just wander around airport, the plane side in Heathrow, and see if you can just have a picture of yourself taken in the cockpit of a 747. Go ahead, see if you can. And they always can.
Well, the Sussex students are quite clever, so maybe it wouldn't be too bad.
Not one single Sussex student who has any chance of even a sniff of a degree is going to be a security guard at an airport for £7 an hour.
You never know. But it turned out their uniforms were really atrocious and gross, and I just thought I could not wear that and have some pride.
Well, what colour are they?
They're like green.
Green. Oh, well, that's not this season's colour at all. Grey it should have been, Sarah.
And it was green. It had this weird pattern on it, and it was just, yeah, no, I couldn't see myself in it. It was just...
In your own vernacular, it would be gross.
Totally gross.
Totally gross.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for the bad news, Sarah.
All right, well, I hope Lucy has fun on her flight.
I don't think so. Ta-da.
Bye.
Here's Northwood. Hello, Jerry.
Oh, good afternoon. A scenario for you. Two people want to enter a plane, but one of them is at the end of his career and was never going to be president of Europe. His ugly, horrible wife is an embarrassment to the whole world and to himself. So you decide to end it all by entering a plane to fly to Miami because they're not going to security check you, are they, Mr. and Mrs. Blair?
Is that made sense to anybody? You're not making any sense, Jerry.
Mr. and Mrs. Blair...
Well, no, I get that part.
...would not be security checked.
They would not be security checked, so... Right.
And because his wife is an embarrassment to him... and
they might want to blow themselves up...
...career, you might as well blow yourself up, including his ugly wife, over the Atlantic.
Right. Still not making any sense, Jerry. But he has a good point. It's just that we can't find it right now. We'll be searching with both hands during the course of this show and see if we can come up with it. And Lucy's desperately searching the internet. What are you looking for now?
I'm finding out what qualifications you need.
I'll tell you what
work.
qualifications you need. You need to not to be able to get any other job.
No, there are
okay, skills and interests. Okay, to be an airline... Well, this is a baggage handler. That's even worse. It's the people who couldn't be airport security end up handling baggage, which is an equally important job in terms of security.
Of course. They'll be checking out my lens solution tomorrow.
You should be able to move and lift heavy loads. Right, well, that cuts out almost no one.
Oh, it does? Most of our population's too fat to do that, surely.
Well, what's that got to do with security? I know you're trying to make yourself feel better, but...
Might be too big to lift heavy
Be responsible
loads.
and honest. Oh, yeah, they'll give them a sheet to tick. Are you responsible and honest?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Do you find you always behave when you're going through security as well? I always find I'm extra polite when I'm doing things like that. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Well, that's a very good way to act, because they have the power now to ruin your life. These people who, in the normal course of events, shouldn't be given any responsibility whatsoever. You know, no offence to the people that do that job, but... you know, they would be asking you if you want fries with that, or cleaning the street, or working in a building overnight, watching TV, a lone security presence. Those are the people that do airport security. They ain't geniuses, Luce. They haven't gone on extensive training. They're not ex-SAS members, and they're not super keen, radars of alertness who are going to come up with... I mean, they let someone go by in a sheet. They didn't ask to see the face, let alone what was underneath the sheet. You know, they didn't do the bomb thing. It was just ridiculous. There's no such thing as airport security. It's a facade.
Well, that's a little bit harsh.
Yeah,
it's true.
Harsh.
I think you're scaring people who might be flying as well as me.
Well, it's just the truth. I mean, if at the drop of a hat, as I said, the editor of a tabloid newspaper can get one of their reporters on board a plane with a knife or a fake bomb or whatever it might be, then do you think a terrorist might have a problem with that?
Yeah, but they are going out of their way to achieve publicity for their paper, so they will have gone through as many,
Oh, and a terrorist won't be quite as keen. They'll give up. They'll give up at the first hurdle.
Yeah, but they're also trying to break into Buckingham Palace.
And they can, exactly, and they can do that too. There's no security there either. There's no such thing as security. There isn't.
So, as well as flying, there's no security, full stop?
For anything, no.
Oh.
It's all a facade,
right.
All of it. I hate to break the news to you, but that's true.
Well...
Yes?
Nothing. I'll think of something.
Which airport you flying from?
Southampton. The best one.
Here's one in New Malden. Hello, Stuart.
Hello there.
Stuart.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad to hear Lucy's flying from Southampton. We flew from Southampton to the Channel Isles, and an interesting thing was, by the time we'd ordered the coffee on the plane, it was so hot we couldn't even drink it because the flight was only 20 minutes.
Is it really only a 20-minute flight?
You just go up and down. We ordered coffee, And quite literally, we got the coffee, and it was so hot we couldn't drink it before we left the aircraft.
Isn't that ridiculous that they would even give you a drink for 20 minutes? I mean, that's less time than you'd spend on the tube.
It's unbelievable. But the strange thing is, while we were there, going through, my hand luggage, which I'd taken, I think it was to Malta, everywhere I've been on holiday for the last 4 years, at Southampton, they discovered I had a lethal implement in my bag.
Oh, what would that been?
It had gone through.
Nail file?
Nail clippers!
Clippers?
So they then... And we couldn't...
What, nail clippers?
Yeah, you know what, a very small, but inch and a half, what you do your nails with, you know, like, with a...
Not scissors, the ones where you insert and then you press down like a stapler.
Yeah, no, and they confiscated them, but because I'd got them and didn't know I'd got them, and this bag had been for 5 years going in and out of the country through security checks, but they found it at Southampton, they then inspected my camera case, which I'd got, with a fume type thing that can pick up if you've got, like, any explosives. It gives off a smell or something.
Because you had nail clippers.
Nail clippers.
Right.
But my wife, this gets even better, my wife went abroad at the height of the security. They were going to Croatia. And guess what they confiscated from the person in front of them?
A gun?
No, you know Ridley's chewing gum have a liquid centre?
Yeah.
They confiscated the chewing gum.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it had a liquid centre.
Of course.
I mean, it's really lethal, this stuff.
Yeah, naturally, yeah.
You know, to be honest, I was in the army, and we were taught if anybody, quite seriously, wanted to get through, they'll get through.
They'll get through, is the right answer.
That's why we have the SAS.
Yeah, God bless them. If only we paid them more, they might be doing, an even better
Yeah, but they
job.
won't be. But what I'm saying is that's what they do. They go and do the, what's unexpected.
Yeah.
It is worrying, you know. I mean, I just think these things are just really, really superficial.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that's true. But thanks a lot, Stuart. The news is coming up. All right.
Cheers, bye.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. How do you feel now, Luce? She's cancelling all of her plans. Going to drive there. Going to drive to the coast and then fling herself into the sea and swim the rest of the way. There's got to be another way to go. Of course, if you go by boat, you'll sink because the storms are coming in.
At least I haven't got far to go, eh? I can swim quite well.
Yeah, you'll barely be able to pass out from fear before you've landed completely safely in a cushion of talky loveliness.
I think we're going to have a fight by the end of the show.
This is LBC.
Nick Abbott.
0870 90 90 973.
Correct.
Right, let's have one in Essex. Oh, Lucian.
Hello.
Yes, Lucian.
Hi. I don't know if you've been how they call it. Some stuff have been confiscated off you. That's why you cannot distance security officers. We're not boring.
Whoa. Hang on, Lucian, just one moment. I'm sorry. Up to this point, I haven't understood a single word you've said. I'm sorry.
Well,
I've been
right,
trying. Go ahead, start again.
What I'm saying is, you seem to be, dissing security officers or the security job we do at the airport.
Right.
I mean, we don't...
Hang on a minute. Let's take it one sentence at a time. Did you get that, Luce?
No.
No, okay.
Just a bit slower, Lucian, would be better.
Okay, I will try and talk slowly. What I'm trying to say is, maybe you've had a bad experience at the airport with some security guards. That's why you're kind of disrespecting the job.
No.
I mean, the work we do at the airport, A, we serve as a deterrent, and B, we do a good job taking stuff off people.
What, like nail clippers?
I mean, nail clippers with a knife. That's a dangerous weapon.
No, he didn't say nail clippers with a knife. He just said nail clippers.
It
I mean, approximately how long would you have to dig at the floor of a plane before you got to the fly-by wires that you could clip one of those? I mean, you'd be on the plane for about a year, wouldn't you? But the guy didn't say how long his nails were, 'cause he said he'd been travelling with his nail clippers and he didn't have any idea for 5 years. I mean, they must be like a foot long. Those would have been dangerous. They'd have to remove his hands before he could get on the plane.
If people would say things to make them look so much, I've been able to bypass it and I've succeeded. No, it doesn't work that way. Mistakes will be made. The people there are well trained. Not any Tom and Dick will just walk in and be trained. First, you have to be security vetted, both CRC and CTC.
Yeah. No one's believing any of that, Lucian. I mean, that might be what the story is. That might be the plan. But really, anyone can get through with anything at any time, and it's been proven over and over and over again. And the fact that nobody could really understand what you were saying doesn't really, inspire much confidence either. Here's one in Sunbury. Hello, Mark.
Hello there, Nick. How are you?
I am all right, mate.
I'm just saying, I work at BAA, not for the security. I do the baggage trolleys, basically. But I go for security every day, you know, probably about 20 times. And I think security there is very tight. I find it very good there myself, you know. You always
what do you mean by very good? By the way, I don't want to talk about this all day long.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, this is just a passing comment I made in order to scare Lucy.
You're saying it's not very safe at the airport. I personally think it's very good. Security's very tight, and you always hear the passengers come through saying how tight it is, and the queues are very big at the moment. But it's because they're so thorough in what they're doing. They have had a few problems in the past about it, like.
But you know what, Mark? It isn't thorough. It's not thorough at all.
Well,
someone just left the country without even showing their face. How's that thorough? And it's like I said over and over. You know. Journalists can waltz onto a plane with a fake bomb or a gun or a Stanley knife or anything that they happen to have in the office at the time, anytime they like, anytime that there's a slow news day, and the newspapers will print it. And it only doesn't happen all the time because people get bored of reading the same story over and over. So they'll do it every other month. You know, the Mirror will do it. I bet it will start in January. I bet they're working on it right now. So, you know, you can say until you're blue in the face that people come through security and they land at the other side and they're alive, and then they conclude from that security is working. Well, it's not. You just happen to be on a plane that the terrorists weren't keen on at the time. It's got nothing to do with security is working and it's super efficient, and you put your bag on the thing there, and people are really peering at the X-ray picture of your bag. That I mean, think about it. It's one bag in, how many do they see a day? 10,000 bags. I mean, if you were sitting there with that machine over and over and over again, how closely would you be looking at each 100 items in their bag? And of course not. Unless all the alarms start going, then you're just going to miss it, aren't you? It's just that, like, up till now. Recently, we've been lucky. But let's not pretend that there's any security. Just like there's no security around nuclear power stations, and no security around gas installations, and no security. There's no security in Buckingham Palace. So far, they've been relatively lucky in 10 Downing Street. Only because they're completely surrounded by men with machine guns, and steel bolts will spring up out the road if you attempt to go in without an appointment. But, you know, that's... and even then, somebody parked around the back and launched a rocket attack a few years ago. So there's just no such thing as security. It's just that in order to make us feel better, in order to allow us to continue around our daily lives and fly off to Guernsey and, you know, wherever else we're going, we just pretend that there's security. It makes us feel better. It oils the wheels of, you know, our general days. But there ain't. Because if we actually admitted the truth of the situation, none of us would ever leave the home again. Like Lucy's considering right now, retreating into a dark corner of her...
Get a takeaway.
Of her house, putting her hands over her face and screaming silently to herself. That's no way to bring in the new year. Hey, have you seen what's on TV this new year?
No,
absolutely nothing.
I wouldn't bother watching anyway.
Well, I'm going to be having a very quiet evening, because I'm working the next...
Oh, sorry, was that a bad thing to say?
Well, it wasn't a bad thing to say, it was just the way you said it.
Well...
As though I'm like a friendless loser watching TV.
Oh, dear.
I think I'm going to ramp up the fear about the planes for the next 2 hours.
well, I'll continue to ridicule you for watching TV then, on New Year's Eve.
It's going to be Jules Holland.
Oh, no.
Again. Oh,
dear.
Well, at least it's not that, the Scottish Hogmanay thing. Hootsman, it used to be,
Used to be Clive James.
Clive James, that's who, yeah.
He did it year after year after year.
Right. With the sarcastic yearly review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like Clive James. Whatever happened to him? He's on Arts World now, on the channel that no one watches.
Yeah, I was reading to say that no one ever knows the words to Auld Lang Syne when they sing it either.
But you just happen to have seen it in the paper, and you've got it in front of you right now.
I've got it here. Yeah, so you can't test me on it. No way. Do you know it all off by heart?
No, you remember that was when they had New Year's at the Dome.
Oh,
and Tony Blair was holding hands with the Queen to do the Auld Lang Syne thing, and he crossed his hands, and the Queen didn't.
That's right.
And everyone was, oh my God, the Queen, what the hell's she thinking of? She didn't cross her hands. And then about a couple of days later they said, oh, yeah, we just checked on this, and the Queen was right. You're not supposed to cross your hands apart from at the last verse.
Oh, really?
Yes, so Tone made a giant ass of himself and tried to get the Queen to do the wrong thing.
Oh, I see. So, but she made a fool of him.
A few years on now.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows what it means. What does it mean? For
I
Old
can't tell you
Lang
that.
Syne. No one has any clue, but we sing it anyway. Sunbury-on-Thames. Oh, Michael.
Hi. Just to say that the ridiculousness of security at the airport, airside, you can buy glass bottles of drink, which in my mind you could take on the plane, you could smash and use as the worst weapons ever.
Correct.
And then the other thing you've got is that they contain alcohol, and if you wanted to, you could set light to it too. It's absolutely ridiculous. And when you challenge BAA on it, which I've done a number of times, and security, they evade the question, and the reason they do it is that they don't want to go to plastic bottles. Forget security and forget what can be done on the aircraft.
Well, they can't sell those things in plastic. You can't sell champagne in plastic bottles, for instance, and I'm sure they sell a lot of it because everybody wants to take. I always rate the champagne
But it's a
going
weapon.
on the plane. Oh, of course it is. Yeah. I mean, you could just point it at someone and let the cork fly off, and you could bring the plane down.
Yeah, but you just smash the two together and you've got two jagged weapons that you could kill anybody with.
Exactly. As dangerous in close quarters as a knife or a gun, Luce.
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to say.
Can you stop giving all these ideas out to people? It's not right.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Okay, thanks.
Ta-ra. Here is Philip from South Norwood. It's Mr. Lister.
Oh, good afternoon, Nick.
Hiya.
Before I get on to my main point, did you know, and maybe Lucy can help us here, there's a
I
strange
think
island off
she's
the
beyond
coast of
thinking at the
Guernsey.
moment. Strange island off the coast of Guernsey, yeah.
How I know about it, I went to Jersey, and on the way back on the boat, we stopped to pick people up in Guernsey, and there's a strange island with a castle on it. And I believe that we were told the only way you can get there is it's a privately owned island, and you have to land there by helicopter. Does Lucy know anything about it?
No. I know there's one that you can go to only by boat that I've been to, near Guernsey.
What I understand, Lucy, is that it's owned by two brothers.
Oh, those guys, the people who own the Telegraph.
Yeah, is it the Barclay
The
brothers?
Barclays, right.
And
The
they've got
highly secretive Barclay brothers,
Yeah,
about
they've
whom
got
we'll
a
say
castle on
nothing
this
negative
island.
at all. Huh?
They got this castle on the island.
Yeah.
And the only way that we were told, I don't know how true it is, that it that there's all dungeons. There's things underneath it where all the offices are and everything else.
Yeah.
And the only way that
Dungeons.
they get to and from the island is by helicopter.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
So I just wondered if Lucy knew anything about it. Is she a regular visitor to Guernsey?
No, Lucy's not thinking straight right now.
Oh.
I'm trying to control myself before the flight tomorrow.
Oh, well, you'll enjoy it.
No, I've only been a couple of times, so I'm not really.
Because you know that you get duty free in the Channel Islands.
Yeah.
Oh, big deal. Duty free. when did you ever shop at the airport and anything was significantly cheaper than you could get it in the high street?
No, but it does make a difference when you just go to buy some wine supplies when you're over there.
Yeah,
you can get some really nice wines, much cheaper.
Yes. Is there a lot of wine growing on the Channel Islands, Jersey?
Is there what?
Is there a lot of wine growing?
I'm not sure.
Oh, right, I didn't know whether they grew their own.
I don't know. Well, they'd have a lot of French supplies, really.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
I was amazed that there's an hour's boat time between Jersey and Guernsey, because they look, pretty close.
They are quite close, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it took us about an hour to get from one to the other. By boat.
Yeah, it is about that.
Yeah. But,
Guernsey, Jersey.
Boring.
What do you want to go there for?
Yeah, wouldn't you rather stay in and watch TV?
Yes, I would.
Actually, I'm looking forward to New Year's Day. My favourite programme's on.
What?
I've mentioned this before, Nick, and you said that the Scottish sitcom Still Game, which I enjoy.
All right. I've still not
also,
caught up with
airports, Nick.
Yes.
Well, I mean, have you had problems going through?
Never, not once.
Not once, no. Not. Have you been to America?
Yeah.
They didn't ask you to take your boots off.
No, I haven't been to America in a good long while. No, but I believe that it's got a lot worse there. It's just more inconvenient. It's not more secure. It's just more inconvenient.
They did actually I think the time before last when I was there, they had notices up saying that they wanted people to visit, and they were, in other words, they were saying that they'd been heavy-handed. And now they were going to be more polite and, courteous to you.
Well, the reason that they're being heavy-handed is because they were given the power. You see, the kind of people that were given this power are not the kind of people that you'd want to give that power to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as as nice as I can, but, you know, they're just people who are working for £7 an hour who couldn't get a job doing anything else.
Well, the people
And if you
actually,
give
I
them
mean the main immigration people, the people with the actual authority, you know, the way they act.
Well, now everyone's got authority. Now that your space waitress has the authority to clap you in irons and redirect the plane so that you go straight to jail.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to take boots off, and I've had the 3rd degree in America, and the thing is just it's not to. I mean, you feel as though they're goading you. They feel as though they want you to, you know, sort of lose your temper.
Yes, that's right, because then they can, you know, take their miserable lives out on you. Yeah.
I just smile at them, and
it's like school monitor, you know, like people who have been elevated to prefect, who are usually the very kind of person that you don't want to be given any authority, because they will abuse it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what's your favourite airport? What one do you like going through?
I really liked, was it Ibiza?
Mm-hmm.
It was either Ibiza or one of the Greek airports, which was basically a shed.
Wow,
and they had, and you got off the airport and you walked into the shed, and there was no kind of control of any kind whatsoever, which also gives an indication of how, hey, you know what, we're past travel.
Oh, wow.
Yak over at this end. I'm going to pause that thought and come back, all right?
Okay, Nick.
3:45, here's Travel with Amanda Redmond.
Nick Abbott.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Yeah, so you got off the plane at Ibiza, and then you strolled to the shed.
Yes.
And there's no security of any kind, you just waltz through. And so, any plane that doesn't start at Heathrow, but that refuels at Heathrow, they can be as secure as they like with the British people getting on, but if it's come from another airport that doesn't have similar stringent security measures, then what's the point?
That's right.
And if I can work this out, then so can, you know, some bearded loon.
It varies, doesn't it, from airport to... I remember going to Ireland in the 60s, and there were signs when you arrived, have you foot and mouth. And they were, you know, the outbreaks, and, you know, you had to go up and, you know, and say, you know, had you been to a farm and all this.
Well, there's another thing to worry about, Luz.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks a lot, Philip.
Okay, Nick.
Ta-ra. Here's Walthamstow. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick.
Dave.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah,
You've
good.
come back from Jersey, mate. Me and Mum the other day.
How was it?
Took Mum. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I took Mum over there last year for a 90th, and we went over there for Christmas.
What do you do in Jersey? I've got no idea what it's like.
Well, I go there a lot, and I go fishing.
Fishing?
John Wilson's just done a programme. You know John Wilson? Or
No.
you've seen it? Discovery TV?
No, it's...
That's all the fishing programmes.
That's not on my package. No, I don't get Discovery.
No, well, he's just been there, done a thing. Yeah, the fishing over there is excellent, sea fishing. But I go over there and do that. But I always take Mum over there. We just chill out over there, St Helier and that. But you was talking about the Berkeley Island. Or the Berkeley Brothers Island. Yeah, I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah, a lot of the guys that were doing all the work over there, they stayed over at a place called the Shakespeare Hotel just outside St Helier in Jersey, and these guys were like carpenters over there. Blighting to go with them one day because they needed dropping off on the boat, and we carried on going fishing. And from what I can gather from those two brothers, they've got their own helicopter, their own boat, and if there's ever any distress over there, like I remember once, maybe about 5 years ago when I was there was a lady that was, she had a bad pregnancy and she was on a little island called Sark. The weather was really bad, couldn't get a boat out. The brothers sent their helicopter out, and the helicopter picked her up and took her over to, I think it was Southampton Hospital.
And did you meet these guys?
No, I don't know anyone that's worked there that's ever met them.
Oh, really?
But it's, it's they've got enough money, they're secure in there, and that's it. I always thought they owned Barclays Bank, but obviously I'm wrong there.
I'm sure that if they wanted to, they probably could.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like, I think they've done a lot for charity over there, but only from what I hear. But
Huh. And what is and what is the inside of the place? Did you even see inside?
no, the guys have told me it's like, it's unreal. I mean, the carpentry work that they have done in there and the brickwork and everything is like spot on. That's only from what the guys that have been working there have told me.
So the kitchen's not from MFI then?
I don't reckon so. Please.
I'll take it as a no.
but it's a lovely location, and Jersey and Guernsey's a nice place. The only trouble with Jersey and Guernsey is it's becoming... all the hotels are disappearing there, and it's all becoming like sort of into flats, and it's basically a banking area. Everybody that's there works for the banks, and they're either English or they're Polish that are over there, and that's it. There ain't many French left anymore over there.
Right, like London.
Yeah, well, the Lithuanians ain't got in yet. They're bound to eventually.
All right, thanks, Dave.
All right, guys, enjoy. Have a happy New Year.
Cheers, and you.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
The Barclay brothers, that's a bit... I always thought, what's going on there? Because they're like 60 years old, something like that, and they live together in the same house. I mean, that's just one less unusual than living with your parents when you're 60 years old. What is that about? They must really like each other. Hands up who likes their siblings well enough to live with them until they're 60 years old. You got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, brother and a sister.
Right, and I bet you don't even want to be in the same country as them.
Oh, no, we do get on quite well, but I wouldn't want to live with them.
No.
No.
Well, who would? I mean, that's just a bit...
We'd be fighting over socks and things
or
again.
just anything.
Stupid things.
2 raindrops falling down the window you'd be arguing about.
Still now, she asks me, you wearing my jumper? Where did you get that? I'm like, it's not yours. Don't ask me that. Brothers and sisters don't do that, though. I think it's if you're the same sex siblings that you tend to get a bit more angsty with one another.
Really?
Do you not think? Have you got siblings?
Yeah, a brother.
You see? And I bet you bicker still occasionally, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, only when we meet.
Oh. And every time you meet?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yes.
Right.
We only argue when we're talking to each other, yeah. How about you, Chris?
One older brother, but he's 7 years older than me, so the age gap, when we were growing up, we kind of did our own separate things, because we were, you know, the age gap was so big, there was nothing in common.
Yeah.
So but I still wouldn't live with him now, even though we're probably got more in common now than we did back when we were younger.
So you were a mistake?
Nick, that is a terrible thing to say.
I take that back.
I think his parents just wanted to have an age gap,
of
you know.
Course.
The real older brother.
So this is going to be my New Year's Eve. I'm so depressed. Jules Holland's Hooten Annie.
Oh, no.
Who is Annie, by the way?
I don't know.
He's going to have Paul Weller. Oh. Amy Winehouse. I quite like Amy Winehouse.
That's good.
She's like Prince Harry, off her head most of the time. You know, like a normal person. Plus Mark Almond.
Oh.
On New Year's Eve.
You'll be watching that.
That close to Jesus' birthday. Mark Almond. And Madeleine Peyrou, whoever that is. That doesn't sound like an enjoyable evening at all, does it?
Is this ITV or BBC?
No, this is BBC Two. And I bet Jules Holland will sit down and give us some of his boogie-woogie piano, which will make me want to pick my TV up and throw it out the window.
Really?
Yeah.
You do not like watching Jules Holland?
Well, I do like watching Jules Holland, but... Well, I like watching the Jules Holland programme.
But not his music?
Not Jules Holland, no.
Why?
Because it just gets in the way of everything that's good. When Jules Holland sits down to do an interview... I just want to pull my ears off. He's got to be, even after all this time, the world's worst interviewer.
Do you think?
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. I think he's an incredible musician.
Oh, come on.
I really do think he is.
Incredible.
Yeah. I think he's very talented.
Eddie Van Halen is an incredible musician. Jules Holland just thumps the ivories. Even Liberace is better than that.
Yeah, he's just a piano player.
Yeah, he's just...
Don't say that. He's just a piano player.
Well, it's true.
Well, he's just learned to play the piano, and...
It's just the same. Wherever he plays, it sounds exactly the same. It's
See, if you'd taken up more of those piano lessons, you might respect his playing a little bit more.
Well, I'd probably respect it even less.
No, you wouldn't.
I mean, you wouldn't go to the Wigmore Hall, for instance, or, the Royal Festival Hall to go and hear Jules Holland sit down and play solo piano, would you?
Why?
You'd need a gun to your head before you went and did that.
It's just like going to see a stranger play the piano.
No, of course it's not. That's rubbish.
You'd need to go to a park where everyone's sitting down having a picnic, which is the kind of gigs that he normally plays. You know, you'll play Kew Gardens and people will be sitting out with a picnic and that. So in other words, your audience is, first of all, drunk. Second, not really paying attention because they're chatting amongst themselves and yelling about who ate the last...
pork pie.
Yeah. over their picnic blanket. And so no one's really, concentrating that fully. Everyone's just there for a vague good time. And so you can get away with it. I just don't rate Jules Holland at all, I'm sorry.
I think you could say that to any outdoor concert, though. People sitting there boozing, not really listening. Couldn't you? With their picnics, come on.
Well, I haven't been to Glyndebourne, mind.
No, me neither.
I'd rather stick my head in the ground, but I'm sure it doesn't happen there. I'm sure that there's a hushed reverence.
Yeah. I did watch The Sound of Music. Sing along a Sound of Music, and we took a picnic. That was good fun, but we had to dress up a bit, you know, and all be the characters. But we had a cracking picnic. That's the thing, is you take a really good picnic and you assign people to do certain dishes, and it's a bit of a competition, who's done the best dish. Me.
Only you, and only women would devise something like that.
Yeah.
A competition.
The boys loved it too. Actually, some of the boys brought some of the best food along. They did. We even bought a hamper and everything. It was proper.
Was the entire thing shot in black and white?
No. It was a Marble
Which
Hill
decade
house.
are we talking about, Luce? Anyway, we've got to go for a break in order to come back.
Nick Abbott.
The good news is, by the way, that, well, Jules Holland is on the One channel, and I can't see in that list anyone that I actually want to watch. New Year's Live is on BBC One with Natasha Kaplinsky. Who's that? Is that one of those newsreaders who always looks like she's going to the opera? Who's dressed up and made up just a little too much in order to just sit down and read the auto cue, which is what somebody else has written. Newsreaders get so much money for doing absolutely nothing, don't they?
She's very intelligent, though,
Yeah.
Natasha Kaplinsky.
Sure.
Well, they write it as well.
No, they don't.
Well, they help write it.
They do not. They've got an entire team of news people who sit down and write it, and they're busy in, you know, getting faffed and dressed in makeup.
She's no fool, though.
Well, I don't doubt it. But it's no kind of a job, is it? Sit there for half an hour and read what somebody else has written.
And get paid a fortune. Sounds great.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. Of our money.
Yeah.
Yes. But on the ITV One, True Lies. Yes, now there's where that's what you're talking about. Explosions. Arnold Schwarzenegger dealing justice.
Yes.
Is that what you'll watch?
I think it probably is, even though I've seen it so many times I could virtually speak it along with the characters.
Why don't you buy a really good movie to watch instead, that you want to watch?
But the problem with buying movies, and I've got cupboards full of them, is you only ever watch them once, and then they sit there for the rest of your life, and you think, oh, I might watch that, but then you never do.
So what, though? It's a tenner. It's New Year's. That could be your one treat.
Prison Break is on Channel 5, the least female-friendly programme in the history. Prison Break on New Year's. That's not very festive, is it?
No. Any reality TV on?
Oh, God, I hope not. Russell Brand is on Secret Policeman's Ball.
Oh, no. Your favourite.
If you don't fancy a funny night in. OK, I'm Nick Abbott. Be back after the new news.
On FM.
On DAB.
And online. This is LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3.
Yeah.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Actually looking forward to that. Explosions, car chases, and lots of shooting loose. I can't wait.
Sounds great.
Yeah. No, there is this, my brain's not working today. Sometimes it works, you know, quite well, and other times it falls at the first fence.
Tap it lightly.
Tap it, unwrap it. There is a stigma, was the word I'm after, to staying in on New Year's Eve. It's like you are a loser. But I don't think that is the case.
I didn't say that.
It's the implication.
I don't actually think staying in is sad.
Yeah.
I think watching TV is a little bit kind of...
Well, what would you do?
Mundane. Well, why don't you get some mates round?
You can criticise me and everything I do, Luce, but don't criticise television. Or I will kill you.
But do you not fancy being a bit sociable?
All of the people that I know are either not here, they're, 10,000 miles away. All the people that I would want to spend New Year's Eve with, they're gone, out of the country, or they're busy doing, things with babies.
Oh, right.
They're all baby things. And
Mm.
no.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm working the very next day, so it's going to be a relatively quiet night.
Okay.
Can't get smashed, can't go out, can't stay up late.
What time are you working the next day?
3.
3? Well, you could go out. Come on.
No, I have to, respect and treat my body as a temple, Luce.
Of course.
I'm not Chris Evans.
Porridge on Christmas Day?
I can't go
on
out and
New
get
Year's Day?
smashed and then have half an hour's sleep and then, wake up the next day and perform.
Roll into work.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Can't do that.
Wow. It's a bit rock and roll.
What are you doing, Chris?
Well, for the first time, I'm going to go down to see the fireworks at the Millennium Wheel.
Are they having them this year?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Every year, don't they?
Well, they do, but they're over so quickly that you might as well not bother. Isn't it like a 5-minute display?
Yeah.
Well, I was under the impression they went on for about half an hour.
No.
Oh.
I think 10 minutes tops. You know why they do it? It's not for the edification of the people who go down to watch it. They have that display for the TV cameras so that all over the world they can say, this is what's happening in London. It's just a giant advert to come to London. It's not... the fireworks display off the wheel is not for the people to go and see it, because it's over so quick.
Yeah.
It all happens at once, so that the TV cameras can get a nice picture. And in America, just as they do here, they say, here's what happened in Sydney, and, it's an explosion,
going on for half an
explosion
hour.
that will peel your eyeballs, and here's what happens in London. And it looks the same, because they only give it that 5-second, here's what's happening. But in Sydney, of course, they have 2 displays in Sydney, one for the kids, because I booked a trip to Australia twice and had to cancel twice, and I booked it all the way down to the table I was going to be at the restaurant Quayside to watch the fireworks. Which happen, I think, something like 7:30, something like that, for the kiddies.
Right.
And then another similar display at midnight, I assume, for everybody else, which can be seen from miles away and goes on forever, and it's fantastic. In London,
wow.
it's just for the cameras, I'm afraid. I wouldn't bother.
Oh, well, if it's only on for 5 minutes, it's not worth the train fare.
I think it's 10 minutes tops.
You get to meet all the tourists.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to do it last year, but it started raining, so we just stayed at home.
Well, it's going to be well worse than that this year. You've got 3 storms all converging at the same time, or one after the other, or something like that. They're predicting doom.
Yeah. Well, it's a night in then, isn't it?
Well, why don't you have some fabulous food and champagne and stay in and watch the fireworks on TV?
That's my plan.
That's even worse than going to see him. He's watching fireworks on the television.
No, you won't be cold. You won't be crushed.
You'll be able to get home.
You won't have to go on the tube.
You won't have to spend £8,000 on a cab fare.
Yeah, and eat a hot dog from a stand.
You won't have to pick your way past the puddles of puke.
Yeah,
hey,
that's
that was one of those things that opera people used in order to warm up their mouths.
Puddles of
pick your
puke.
way past the puddles of puke. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickle.
Very good.
Well, it's Jules Holland for me then, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't that awful? I hope there's something on on satellite, or I'll just have to raid.
Yeah, there's bound to be better stuff on satellite.
Raid the hard drive on my personal video recorder, Sky Plus, which has transformed my life for the better. Television is my life, and I don't care who knows it. That's all I do.
Why don't you just watch an episode of 24? You're into that at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, well, not just one episode. You have to watch at least 4 at once, because one is not enough. It's like having a meal of canapes. Just one tiny canape is not enough, Luce. You've got to have loads of them. Yeah. And so I don't watch 24 when it comes out on television, because it's just irritating. Because an hour-long episode only lasts 40 minutes. Which is just makes me want to pull your hair out. In an hour, you've got 20 minutes of adverts.
Really?
Yeah.
Good grief.
That's how they make them in the American ad. That's why The Simpsons only lasts for 20 minutes. But it's actually in a half-hour segment, because they've got 10 minutes of ads. That's painful. So if you watch 24, or indeed any of those great dramas that come over from the States, like The Sopranos and, Prison Break and all that good stuff, then you only get 40 minutes a week. That's just not enough to sustain, is it?
So better to buy it on DVD.
Yeah, and then gorge yourself.
Fair enough.
Here's Carl Shelton. Hello, Johnny.
Hello.
Johnny.
Yes. I was calling about the fireworks
Yeah.
that you were talking about. And at last, I went last year. I assume you're talking about at the Eye.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it lasted a lot longer than 5 minutes. It was about 15 to 20 minutes. And being an American, I've seen quite a lot of fireworks displays, and it was one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Huh.
It was absolutely fabulous.
That's a weird accent you got going on there. What's happening with your accent?
I've been here for 5 years, and I spent 9 months in Australia, so it's a bit mixed.
All sorts of everything coming in there. All right, well, thanks. And was it worth it?
Oh, it was definitely well worth it. And I was afraid there was going to be a lot of drunken rowdiness, but there wasn't.
Right.
Everybody was very well behaved, and they directed traffic quite well as far as the people traffic goes.
Huh. And where did you see it from?
I was right there at the Eye.
On the south side?
I was about 100 yards away from the actual wheel.
Huh.
And it wasn't even as crowded as what I thought it would have been. So, no, it's definitely well worth it.
All right, thanks a lot, Johnny.
All right, no worries.
I don't know what happened last year, but I went from what happened the previous year because everyone trudged away, stunned. I mean, they'd virtually only just looked up from their shoes, to make sure that they weren't standing in something, to look at the fireworks, and they were over. So maybe they got so many complaints that Ken Livingstone, who must have stepped in.
Was almost Ken singing.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that before.
Let's have Barnsley. Oh, Louise.
Hi, Nick.
Louise.
How are you, my darling?
I am all right, thanks.
Good. You were talking about watching 24 all at once.
Yeah.
I think it's better, and I found that with Lost as well, because it's like one big film, if you watch it all at once.
Yeah. If you watch 4 episodes, that's about 2.5 hours worth of goodness, as opposed to just 40 minutes, which isn't enough to take you through a week.
Yeah, it's quite annoying, actually. And with the adverts as well. It's just like...
This is why everyone has to buy a personal video recorder so you can skip through adverts. I don't know what advertisers are going to do now, though. They'll have to start spending all of the money that they would ordinarily spend on adverts on, what do they call that? Where they place product placement.
Yeah, like in
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the end of the year. I need to be recharged. Product placement is the right answer. So that's where they're going to have to spend their money. In fact, I saw an advert that was made to be watched at 30 times normal speed the other day. Yeah, and they're going to be doing a lot of that as well, because everyone's fast forwards. And the only adverts that people will watch anymore are those break bumpers, those 10-second blipverts that are usually incredibly annoying 118 people, which just make me want to kill myself every time I see them. But you can't avoid them because they're there at the very beginning and the very end of the break, which is your cue to stop fast forwarding.
Yeah, they're sponsored by.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where all the money is going to go from now on.
Yeah.
And they'll start doing things like, people like they do in America on talk shows. You just be talking away like this, and you'll say, "Oh, by the way, Liz, have you been to Tesco's lately?" "Oh, it's fantastic. You should have their mince pies." And then suddenly we're into an advert without warning.
Yeah.
Rewind there. I've not bought Tesco's mince pies.
Could have been any supermarket. Yeah.
Others are available. Yeah. What are you going to be doing New Year's Eve, Louise?
I don't know. Me and my family just tend to stop in and play games and listen to music.
Right.
That's what we do.
Avoid that whole mess. Yeah.
It's too expensive to go out New Year's Eve, though, with the taxis and everything.
With the taxes and everything's going to be 5 times what it normally would cost to get in, and it actually doesn't make any sense. It's just another day of the year. It's an arbitrary day of the year. It's just another Sunday? Is it Sunday? Or is it Monday?
Yeah. Monday.
Monday is New Year's Day. Right, okay, so it's Sunday night. It's just another Sunday night.
Yeah. But I do prefer New Year's to Christmas. I think it's more exciting.
Really?
Yeah.
I always find it a bit, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hooray! And it's like, oh, yeah, is that it? Can we go home now?
I like that.
Huh. Okay, well, have a happy one, alright.
Yeah, have a good New Year.
Cheers, Louise.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Ta-ta. This Saturday night Jamie Theakston will be taking you on a journey across Britain, where you can relive the highs and lows of 10 cyclists, which include our newsman Tom Bateman, who cycled over 900 miles across the country last summer, from Land's End to John O'Groats, to raise £100,000 for charity. And what happened along the way will be broadcast on Saturday night at 8 o'clock on the programme Radio Riders, Journey Across Britain. 8 o'clock this Saturday on LBC, where it's 4:15, is Travel with Amanda Redman.
Nick Abbott.
How may I help you?
What was the most overhyped thing of the year? First thing that comes to mind. Don't think about it. First thing. You're thinking.
Oh, I can't help it. I can't.
iPod.
iPod?
Yeah.
Have you got an iPod?
Yeah.
Is it broken down yet?
The battery doesn't last as long as I hoped it would.
Well, how long?
At the moment, it's only lasting about an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
That's rubbish.
That means you can never leave the house with it.
Pretty
so you
much.
might as well have a stereo.
Pretty much.
That's rubbish.
I know, I've gone back to cassettes.
You're not.
Well, I've got a little Walkman at home, and I've been using that at the moment.
A CD Walkman, I hope, though, not a tape Walkman. I mean, you can't even buy a cassette now, can you?
Yeah.
Can you?
Don't you ever record stuff off the,
radio?
Yeah.
That's illegal.
Oh, yeah.
And also, isn't that something that people did 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean...
Step into the 80s, Chris. Come on.
What are you recording onto tape?
That is rubbish on a stick, though, isn't it? The battery lasts for an hour.
Yeah.
On a product whose very existence is the purpose of it is to walk around listening to your little tunes, right? But because it only lasts an hour, that means that's specifically what you cannot do.
I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm just always recharging it at the moment.
I think that's just what happens with them. The amount of times I've read people say, this is a lovely thing, and it's, one of the most satisfying gadgets I've ever held in my hand, but it only lasts a year. It's like a pair of fashion shoes.
Can you not buy a new battery?
No.
Oh, right.
Crucially not. They don't come out, do they? You've got to buy a new iPod. That's an outrage.
That's a con, isn't it?
Yeah. I won't buy one. For two reasons. For that reason, for the reason that if you go on the net and Google iPod problems or one of these things, there'll be billions of people who are all saying the same thing. They don't last, they'll say. And the other reason I won't have one is because everyone else has got one.
But how much do they cost now? About 180 quid?
Yeah, too much.
Okay, 180 quid for a year. So cost per use, that's not very much over a year, is it?
I can't imagine when I'd ever use it. When would you ever use it, Chris?
On the tube.
Right.
Yeah, travelling to work.
Can you actually hear
and back.
it on the tube? Don't you have to have it so loud that you'll deafen yourself?
Well,
what about reading?
You have to have it loud enough so that the other person next to you can hear it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's the one.
I hate that.
Me too. What about reading? I mean, I don't understand this compulsion now that you can't travel more than 5 yards without musical accompaniment.
Oh, because reading makes me sick on public transport. On any transport, really.
What are you, 5?
Do you drive?
Yeah.
Well, I read a very easy way to persuade kids to stop being car sick is you get them to pretend to drive the car, because it makes the alignment, they're watching
they're looking
the road.
ahead, rather than, fighting in the back seat, yeah.
But it does something to your brain otherwise if you don't try and register it with the motion of being on the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I always volunteer to drive anywhere, wherever we go.
Can't you get over it?
I've never heard of anyone being sick on the tube reading.
No.
If I start reading like a newspaper or something, it just all suddenly just makes me feel all queasy.
It's not like when I start reading a book, I immediately fall asleep. It's not the same thing, right? No, completely different. Let's have Sidcup. Hello, Roger.
Hello there, Nick.
Roger.
You've just picked up on a very interesting point about iPods. My son's got through 2 of them this year.
Isn't that an outrage?
Yeah, I mean, they are small, they are very stylish, but they don't have the quality control, and they also have all sorts of other little issues about them which I'm not too keen about, like the fact that you have to use their software to get the songs actually onto your from your laptop onto the actual iPod in question.
Yeah, there's another reason I won't buy one.
And the other thing that just bugs me about them is the fact that, there's sort of like this peer pressure thing that, if you haven't got one, you're some sort of social outcast.
Yes. However, a couple of years ago, no one wandered around the streets listening to music continuously, did they, really?
No, I mean, if people were going on big journeys and stuff, like
Chris going retro, the old sort of like Sony Walkman and cassette scene come out and stuff, but it just seems to become, everyone now, they can't sort of walk down their garden path without having some sort of musical accompaniment. No wonder we don't have more fatalities on the road and stuff, because people just are not sort of paying attention to what's going on around them.
Exactly, yeah. And the amount of people that you see driving cars with them, which is wrong. Don't do it.
Mind you, I used to get into a bit of bother, because a couple of years ago I wouldn't go anywhere without my laptop. And I was one of these people that on train journeys I'd get the laptop out and try and make out I was doing some, heavyweight number crunching and doing something impressive, but I wasn't actually. What I was doing was just wasting my time watching DVDs on the actual laptop.
Right.
But this actually got a little bit contentious, because one day I was sort of watching something which the lady sitting next to me didn't quite approve of, and she actually moved seats. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I just thought to myself, well, maybe I should reevaluate this policy. And the other thing was once, I was sitting there watching something, and by the time it got to my stop on the train to get off, I suddenly realised that virtually the whole carriage was peering over my shoulder watching what I was watching as well. It was a bit embarrassing.
Yes. All right, thanks, Roger.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. Here is something along the same lines. We're apparently advice from Lakeside. Leon.
How you doing, all right?
I'm all right, mate.
Is Chris there?
Yes, he is.
Oh, you can buy batteries for iPods. You can change the battery on an iPod quite easily.
How?
Well, there's instructions on the Apple website. You do it. I think Ian Lee done it the other week.
I thought that was the very nature of them was that you couldn't change the battery.
No, of course you can change your iPods. And also, if we didn't have iPods, how would we get our premium podcasts?
Well, you could have your Creative Zen Plus, or whatever they call that thing.
But no, you can definitely change the battery on an iPod. If not, if you've had it for under 9 months, you can take it back to the store and change it for a new one.
Huh.
Because they don't send them back. Apple don't accept them back. So what they do is they just give you a new one in replacement, and you get another 9-month guarantee, 12-month guarantee.
You hear that, Chris?
Yeah.
So, Chris, you can change your iPod battery.
Oh, well. Thanks, Leon.
Right, cheers.
Ta-ra.
Someone else just rang me about that too and said you can get it off an internet site called Naplin.
I still don't want one, because you know what? Next month they're going to release one that will be all screen, and then the month after that they'll release one that will be as thin as a piece of paper, and it will be bendy. And then the month after that they'll release one that
is also a phone.
Yeah, and the month after that one will project an image of movies onto a blank wall.
And then people will be Bluetoothing you on your iPod.
Oh, God, and on and on and on it goes. There'll never be a good point at which to buy any of these things, so I think I'll just not buy one. Although, having held one, immediately did feel that this is the most satisfying gadget I've ever held, because it's just something that you just want about them, and that's the evil part of them. You see it, and whether you're going to use it or not, which I probably never would. I mean, I can't imagine myself wandering around the streets with an iPod stuck in my ear, and I wouldn't go to the gym with it either. People go around the gym, which has blasting house music, with their iPods. They must turn them up so loud to drown out the music, drown out the house music, so that they can hear their own, presumably, house music.
But if they don't want to hear that house music, maybe they want a bit of Elgar or something while they're running around.
No, you have to...
Bit of Jules Holland.
Yes. Speaking of which, do you know, most people pile on 8 extra pounds of flab over this period.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
8 pounds. Like, if you think about how much that would be in bags of sugar, that's how much extra you're carrying around on your little legs.
I reckon I am. I do.
And it'll take 3 months to shake it off loose. Unless, of course, you have a really bad flight, in which case you will sweat it off in the 20 minutes that it takes for you to get to Guernsey.
That'd be nice.
Back to that again.
Once we get there.
There's a rush to diet and exercise around about this time of year when everybody starts doing the New Year's resolutions. Hands up who's going to have a New Year's resolution this year. Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did that anymore.
Well, well, it's just kind of I plan to put on more weight. That's my plan. I've been skinny my whole life, and I just fancy being a bit chubbier.
Chubbier or musclier?
Ooh. Well, that's the thing. I want to be a bit more chubby, but I don't want to go to the gym. So it's not really going to be muscle, it's just going to be
So you'll just
fat.
get fat.
Well, that can't be good for you, surely.
Well, you can do it healthily, can't you? Doesn't have to be unhealthy fat.
Do a bit of weights, and that'll build up your muscle, and that'll make you a bit broader, and then you can eat more, and that's healthier.
Yeah.
Rather than just sticking pies in your
That's the
face.
thing, it's like doing exercise. I don't want to have to do the weights or go to a gym or go running or anything like that. I just want to...
That is shocking. That's a
I just want to sit here and get
That is
fat.
a snapshot of what is wrong with this country. Your body was made in order with all the functionality of running and leaping and jumping and pushing and pulling and all that sort of stuff, and what you're doing with it is you're just sitting there feeding it chips and watching TV all day long.
Well,
Awful.
It doesn't have to be unhealthy fat.
Guess how many chips we eat every 45 minutes as a
6.
nation? 98.2 tonnes.
Nick Abbott. London's LBC 97.3.
We love you long time.
What was that? Was that you or me? It sounded like two things were playing at the same time. We'll have an
That was you.
investigation afterwards. More than a quarter of young people get so drunk on not January the 31st. Oh, they've made an error.
Who is it?
It's the Mail. Shame on them. On December the 31st, more than a quarter of young people get so drunk on December the 31st, more than a quarter of journalists get so drunk at this time of the year that they don't even know what month it is. That they lose their memory.
Haven't you ever done that?
Well, it depends what you mean by lose your memory. I mean, not remembering... Well, I guess that would apply. Not remembering exactly how you got home. I think that's acceptable. Unless you sort of piece it together.
I've had a complete memory loss. I actually went to another home I thought was my home, and someone opened the door and I thought I lived there. That's terrible, isn't it? I didn't know about it until I was told the next day.
You went to another home?
Yeah, I actually only lived in a flat at the time, and I went to a house, I don't know where, and this chap answered the door, and I said, "What are you doing in my house? This is where I live." And he said, "No, you don't. This is my house."
Crazy?
I find it extraordinary. It's the only time it's ever happened to me, but it's almost just too strange that I just had such a blank that luckily the chap who was with me said, "I don't think you live in a house."
Of course, you live in a house now.
I do now.
Right, Lucy's just moved to a new house. She used to live in a beautiful slice of rural England with a thatched roof and hot and cold running ducks in the little pond at the end of her garden. Oh, it was lovely. And then she decided to move into an inner-city area with a nuclear reprocessing plant on one side and an abattoir on the other.
But I'm very happy.
She's got a sex workers outreach clinic over the road, mildew in the bathroom, she's got rats in the kitchen. What am she gonna do? How'd you like the house so far, Luce?
I hate this job.
Oh, no! Wrong one! How embarrassing.
I was hoping you'd play Fabulous.
Don't you dislike it when that happens?
I hate it.
Yeah.
But the only good thing is that in the year, my house value should have increased by £33,000.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So it'll be
I'll
worth-
put up with the rats.
It'll be worth £33,000.
That's good news, isn't it?
What, that it will be worth £33,000? You're not listening to this show,
Oh.
are you? Here's Big and Hill. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Nick.
Gary.
Cassettes. I still use cassettes all the time. I don't see why you need to worry about them being out of date. I've got hundreds of cassettes, and it seems to sanctify them all the way.
I see your hundreds of cassettes, and I'll raise you thousands of cassettes. I've got thousands of them, which I'll never play again.
It's the same thing with videos. I've still got a video player, and I still use it all the time.
I've got a video player in the stack of the machines that are underneath the TV, but it's been switched off for I'm doing my bit in order to protect the environment by switching off my video player. So I can't see what time it is anymore, but at least I'm not, burning a hole in the sky.
And vinyl. I've stuck with vinyl. I've got a record player, and I still use it all the time, more than anything else.
Ah, well, see, of all the things you just mentioned, that's the one that is actually fashionable. Vinyl.
Yeah, it seems to be coming back in fashion. It's still, there's a company called Diverse Vinyl in Wales, and you can get mail order vinyl from them. And it's amazing how much you can still get on vinyl.
Huh. What, not second-hand, actually new?
Oh, brand new, yeah. Not everything that comes out, but I should think probably about a third of most most of the stuff I'm interested in, you can still get in vinyl.
Are you a jazz fan?
Not particularly, no.
Well, what kind of music then?
Well...
Housey house music?
Oh, no, nothing like that, no.
Well, what kind of, what category of music still releases, most of what they do in vinyl?
I mean, have you heard of Ryan Adams? I mean, things like that you can still get. Neil Young.
Yeah, Ryan Adams.
Boring! Neil Young, Bob Dylan, a few like that sort of thing. That still comes out. All the new stuff's still out on vinyl.
Classic rock.
And there's probably other stuff, I mean, because I'm not interested in jazz, but when you see the list of stuff available, there's a hell of a lot of jazz on the list.
There's a certain warmth about records, isn't there? There's a warmth to the sound of a record.
There is. You can't put your finger on it, but if you hear it, you know the difference.
Yeah, it's definitely better. Apart from when you scratch it, and there's some albums which even today, 20 years after I last played the vinyl version, because the vinyl version that I grew up with skips. And I still can't hear, so like Dark Side of the Moon, for instance, there's a bit on Dark Side of the Moon, which, when you play a CD, of course, it doesn't skip. And it doesn't sound right that it doesn't skip at that point. So
I've got a copy of David Bowie album, and the Aladdin Sane, it's the Drive-In Saturday that was a single, and on mine it skips and it misses about 2 words out, and I can't listen to it, on the radio, it doesn't sound right anymore. I'm so used to them 2 words not being there.
Yeah, it's what you're used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Gary.
Okay, bye.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. And vinyl, of course, came in 12-inch sleeves where the artwork looked fantastic and it was useful for, propping all sorts of things on. Like a little tray it was.
For your drinks?
Yeah, stuff like that, yeah.
Nice.
And these days, CDs, there's just nothing friendly about them. Little plastic things with the hinges break off and you can't see the artwork because it's just tiny and it's just not satisfactory.
I quite like the fact they're smaller. More out of the way.
That's because you're a woman, Luce.
Yeah. Even better when it's completely away.
So has your husband got a giant stack of CDs? So I've got something that will please you and will dislike him.
Oh, really? What?
And he will dislike.
Oh, what?
You're going to love me for suggesting this.
Yeah.
He's got hundreds and hundreds of CDs, right?
Yeah.
And are they on shelves, open to the eye?
Well, there are still 2 shelves, yeah.
In the living room?
Yeah.
Ugly-looking things, aren't they?
Yep.
Yep, hideous. Do you know what? You know what the thing you're going to? I'm going to suggest is.
No.
You'll love this. He will hate it.
Oh, go on.
You can get they look like photo albums, but they're actually just plastic sleeves that you fit a CD in.
Yeah.
So you can keep all of the CDs, but you put the CDs in a book and then you throw all of the cases and the little booklets that come with them away. And so all you're left with is just the CDs.
Just the CD.
And so 2 shelves worth of CDs, hundreds and hundreds of them, can be condensed into the size of what looks like a medium-sized photo album. And you're thinking this through, and there's a little smile creeping onto your face, and you're thinking, yes, gonna crack the whip when you get home.
What I'm thinking, though, is that he'll still want to have a little leaflet. Could I pop that in the pouch?
I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
Can I pop that in?
Sometimes, yeah, some of them you do get the opportunity to do that, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Pointless, really, because when are you ever going to use it? But I know that's what he'll say, because that's what I would say. I want to see who the executive producer was, and all that stuff that you actually don't ever need to read. But it's, you paid for it, so you might as well have it. Yeah. That's the one problem about downloading albums, is you don't get all that guff that comes with it.
No, the words.
Yeah, the words, yeah.
To sing along with.
But you could clear shelves.
I could, couldn't I? Yeah, I could clear space in the loft as well.
He won't like it.
Well, I actually think there's not much to argue against it, though, is there?
No. You can't. He can't
give me a good enough reason to keep the CDs out, which is good.
How about the fact that they're tacky? They sound tacky.
How do you mean? Well, these books.
CD albums.
Right.
They just sound tacky.
Yeah, they don't look that nice, but they're relatively cheap. I found it very difficult to get hold of a nice looking one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I eventually found one. I looked it up on the net, and I, tapped in my credit card details, and then I waited and waited and waited, and so I sent them an email and said, what about this then? Where's my thing? And no response, and I'm waiting, and oh, God.
I mean, you forgot about it?
Well, no, I haven't forgotten about it. They've got my money. Where's my product?
Oh, you still haven't got it?
No.
Oh, so the jury's still out then. We'll wait
Yeah.
till it's actually arrived.
I'm not holding my breath there.
And the good thing is you could put it all then in alphabetical order, and then he wouldn't have to, every time he pulls a few out and they're all over the floor, you know, they won't get lost again. When I then put them back randomly, why have you put it back like that? Because I don't want them on the floor. it's quite easy. So that's
I love the way you played that out with your facial expressions.
What do you mean? Well...
You adopted like a gormless expression.
Kevin the teenager.
Yeah,
look.
for when you were giving his part of the argument.
I know, that was probably slightly unfair of me. He said, "Oh, what have you done that for?" in a really nice way.
Right. While he was busy cooking dinner. Yeah. And hoovering.
Yeah. That's got to change as well in the new year. Not enough cleaning going on. I left the bathroom for nearly 2 weeks to see if he noticed.
Here we go.
And I said, have you seen the dust that is collecting by the bottom of the sink? He said, no. I said, well, why haven't you seen it? He said, haven't you got anything better to do? I was like, I said, I can't believe you haven't noticed. I said, every time you get out of the bathroom. No. He said, just get on with your day, Lucy. Just stop worrying about things like that. Right, so then it would just be stinking all the time.
So, in other words, this was a test. And you, despite every fibre of your body wanting to pick that dirt up, you left it there for 2 whole weeks just to see if he would say something.
Yeah.
And your brain was screaming at you every time you'd go in the bathroom to do something about it. But you thought, no, I'm going to wait. And you couldn't. And it came to the point that you couldn't wait anymore. So you had to confront him with it. And he's like, what? Dirt? What dirt? And I bet your brain virtually exploded.
Yeah, I felt really because I expected him to be repelled by the dirt as I was. And the fact is, he still hadn't noticed it. And I could have left it there for months and he wouldn't have noticed it.
But it's not dirt. It's not dirt, it's dust.
Oh, come on. He can't even rinse out the bath afterwards.
Dust isn't dirt.
Oh, dear.
Remind me never to come to a party at your place.
What, because of the dust?
Well, no, because I imagine it would each evening would end with death. Or the threat of it. You're going to... Can I say what you're going to in Guernsey?
Yeah.
It's a murder mystery weekend, right? Mm-hmm. I think the mystery is whether your husband will come back alive. You're going to be the murderer, right? Or have I just given it away?
No, I'm not going to be the murderer.
Right.
No one knows who the murderer is going to be.
Oh, right.
Because it's, it's all part of the game.
Oh, okay.
Only that person knows.
You find out when you get there.
Yeah, I think so. Or the person might know, I don't know. But yeah.
What prompted this? Other than the feeling of anger that's obviously coursing through you.
Well, it wasn't my idea. It's the friends that we're visiting. They've sent all the stuff out to us, so we have to dress as the character.
Right.
And you have to know all the background as well. I've got kind of 3 sheets of paper so that I know my character inside out. I know who my friends are who'll be there, and so you have lots to talk about, and you have to dress accordingly.
I bet that within 30 minutes everyone's just forgotten about the game and they're just sitting drinking. Oh, is we still playing?
Yeah, is someone missing? Oh. Oh dear, they're dead. Yeah, but it should be good fun, I think.
I'll be sitting watching Arnold Schwarzenegger at the time.
Yeah. Don't you wish you were running around in a 1970s costume?
No. It's 4:45. Here's Travel with Amanda Redmond.
Nick Abbott.
I don't know if you're a detective or a pervert.
Which is it, Luce? Detective or pervert? There's the end of this story about how revellers get so drunk they forget it all on New Year's Eve. 26% admit that they've forgotten what happened. 19% have spent the night with strangers. 16% have found themselves in potentially dangerous situations. 13% got lost with no cash. I'm always leaving the house without any money. So you get this feeling when you're leaving the house, oh, I've forgotten something, don't know what it is, what is it? And then halfway to the tube you think, I've got a penny on me, not one penny.
You don't need cash on you. You can just use your card everywhere now.
Well, yeah, it's true enough. And a lot of places, like Pret a Manger, only recently started taking cards without mentioning any brand names.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. It used to be cash only. There's a lot of places that, I mean, if you want a newspaper, they'd be a bit upset if you pulled a card out, wouldn't they?
Well, as long as you get cash back, you could get a newspaper.
You see? He's thinking.
Although in my local Tesco Metro, you can't get cash back.
Why is that?
You have to pay by card or cash, but they have got a cash machine outside and they just don't do cash back.
See, but there's cash machines everywhere anyway, so...
But I didn't realise that, so it was a bit stupid because I had to pay for something that was about £2 on my card, which I wouldn't...
I do that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
1 in 10... Can I just interrupt?
Sorry.
Sorry. 1 in 10 of those questioned in the survey by the government's Drug Information Service, Frank, also said that they'd tried illegal substances on New Year's Eve. 1 in 10? 1 in 10? Right. What, 9 out of 10 were so stoned that they'd forgotten what they'd taken. Come off it. I was like, hello, we're from the government. Can you tell us, do you take illegal drugs? Oh, no, not me. There's, you know that we're about to be able to gamble?
What, legally?
Yeah, in giant casinos.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The super ones.
Which they're, about which they're predicting doom, just like they predicted doom with 24-hour drinking and, basically any change that looks like it's liberalising laws. The usual people come crawling out of the woodwork, and they're like Fraser from Dad's Army. They're all predicting doom. There's something called an EGM, an electronic gaming machine, that they're saying is the crack cocaine of gambling. Google that. I've got no idea what that is.
EGM?
Yeah, electronic gaming machine. A warning was issued today about the dangers of a new generation of gaming machines called the crack cocaine of gambling. Labour's liberalisation of the gambling laws will allow operators to install hundreds of the betting terminals, electronic gaming machines known as EGMs, in Britain's first super casino. Which isn't going to be very super, considering where they're going to stick it. It's going to be in the Dome, right? No one's going to want to go there. Have you been to the Dome?
I've never been, but it's too out of the way, though, isn't it?
There's nothing around there at all. You'd have to get on one of those noddy Toy Town little trains that close at about 10 in the evening, and haven't got a driver, which always I thought was really concerning. And no one's is going to want to go there. Yeah, I can understand that gamblers would arrive in Mayfair or Edgware Road or wherever they're situated. That's understandable, because there's a bit of glamour about it, right? But you want to trudge all the way to the Dome? It's not going to happen, is it?
There's nothing glamorous about the Edgware Road.
No, well, that's true enough. But the government's own advisors have warned that EGMs could lead to significant increase in the problem gamblers. In other words, they're spelling doom. Reports said choosing the location of the super casino. A report into the independent organisation who's been charged with locating the first super casino, which I thought was going to be in the Dome, said that EGMs are a highly addictive form of entertainment. They've been likened to crack cocaine by one US expert. Have we found what they look like yet?
No. It's not a very good site, actually.
EGMs. What are they? I mean, presumably it's like a slot machine, right?
Isn't it like online poker things? You get on your internet.
I don't see how it's any different to people just buying loads of lottery tickets, though.
No, it's the same.
I mean, it's
it's like I said, every time they liberalise anything, they're always spelled, like with the smoking thing. Oh, as soon as you stop people smoking in bars, then that will be the end of the publican trade as we know it. All restaurants will close down, nobody will be going out anymore, and then, they do it in Scotland, they do it in Ireland, and there's absolutely no change whatsoever. Just like the 24-hour drinking laws. Can you believe they took that long to do it? I'm outraged by that. They emailed everyone under the age of 24 just before the election, said, vote for us and we'll allow you to drink after 11 o'clock. And we all said, wow, that's great, OK, we'll vote for you. And then we did, and they said, oh, yeah, well, we're just kidding about that. Sorry about that. They said, no, not now, not ever, never. And then we were basically so furious that it took them, 5 years or something to do it? It just took forever. And everyone was saying, we won't be able to handle it. The British people are just a bunch of low-life drunks, and we'll be falling around in the street if you allow us to drink for a second longer than we can right now, and there'll be absolute chaos. And it came, and it went, and nothing happened. Now, 8 out of 10 people, polled by the Evening Standard today, which was one of the few papers that actually had anything in it. I think that journalists aren't working this week. I think they've written all the newspapers just before they broke up for Christmas. Because there's nothing in them. Everyone's singing, bye-bye, Saddam, bye-bye. But apart from that, there's nothing in them.
These are last year's surveys.
Quite possibly. Or they just might be making them up. I used to work for a survey company, a famous one. And I used to just make this stuff up.
Sat in the pub.
Exactly right.
Ticking them off.
Yeah, I did. Because they give you a whole batch and you have to fill them all out before your day's done. And you've got to cross-reference different types of person by age and class and occupation and all the rest. Who can be bothered with any of that? So you just go and make up what you think they would have said. More than 8 out of 10 Londoners strongly support the smoking ban in bars and pubs, according to a poll for the Evening Standard. It will end fears that the new law, which comes into effect in the summer, and they say it is, but there's something in the back of my mind that thinks they're not going to do it. You know, it'll come to July the 1st, and they'll say, oh, yeah, there's a problem. Sorry about that. We'll get to it after the next election. There's going to be something like that. I just feel that there's going to be... It's too good to actually just go through. I'm amazed that they went for a 100% ban. Because the silly thing that their government actually wanted to do was you can smoke, but not within 3 feet of the actual bar. I mean, that's just moronic, isn't it? What possible difference would that make?
Yeah.
Like, the smoke would stop itself 3 feet away from the bar in order to protect the people behind the bar from breathing out smoke. That's just laugh out loud funny. But that's exactly the sort of thing that you'd think the government would come out with, some kind of silly fudge. It's not actually going to please anybody in their desperate attempt not to upset anyone.
Well, lots of bars do have a little area, don't they, that's non-smoking, but you always just come out stinking of smoke as you would if you'd sat in the smoking area.
Every time you go out, you wake up the next day and you pick your clothes off the floor. Those... Or carefully...
Pick my husband's clothes off the floor.
Exactly. And they stink so much that if you rub them together, they'll burst into flames. They smell so much. It's awful. I can't stand it. So... From now until July, I think I'll stay in. I just won't go out.
Oh. You're getting cheerier by the second. Happy New Year.
According to a telephone poll of over 1,000 people, the ban on smoking effective 1st of July next year in all enclosed places in England will not deter people from going out to pubs, bars and restaurants. Well, of course it won't. I mean, what, people are going to stop drinking? They're going to stop wanting to meet each other? That's just silly, isn't it?
Do you think there'd be more babies out in the pubs?
Babies? What, you mean
because parents will be able to take their children along to pubs now. Won't they?
I don't know what the law with babies is.
No, well, if it was a family pub, I don't see why it would.
What's a family pub?
Well, there are family pubs, aren't there?
We got a little playground in the back garden.
And then it's fine. So I presume then you might run the risk that you have kids there even in the evening, whereas at the moment, often in the family pubs, they go home after lunchtime.
Right, that's what we'll have to ban next.
Yeah, ban kids.
Yeah. It's 4:56.
Nick Abbott.
But the problem with gambling is that, just like everything else, like drinking and all other matters of personal liberty, the government doesn't think that we can handle it, that we're morons and we can't control ourselves. And the other part is that undesirable elements will be brought in by gambling. You know, like it might become a centre of organised crime. And that prostitution will be rife, and the drugs gangs will move in, and people will be betting their salaries on doomed wagers, and really nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, just look at Las Vegas. They might be right about that. Are we having this one in Kent? She's busy having a chat. Yes? No? I'll wait. Hey, Lucy, turn the mic up. What on earth are you talking about?
All right, thank you ever so much. I've got to go. Thanks.
What's that? The look on your face.
Okay, thank you. Cheers,
okay,
bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye, thanks, bye.
Bye. Who was that?
There's just someone having a chat to me.
A chat?
I couldn't get off. I can't be rude.
Yes, you can.
I can't. No, I couldn't at that moment. I always can if I can.
Oh, you're cracking up and then just hang up. And they won't know whether you've...
Do you do that to people?
Well, I think I would have done it to her. What was going on there?
Oh, don't be mean. Sometimes I have to.
That's quite rude.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's quite rude to do that.
You know. I was doing my best. I was trying to be as quick as possible.
You were having a conversation with her for ages. Was it a complaint?
No.
Oh. You didn't want to talk to me?
No.
You taking personal calls?
Yeah, it's just my mates ringing up, you know.
Oh, right. It was my mum, wasn't it?
On FM,
On DAB.
and online. This is LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3.
Yeah.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Right, so what are we doing?
So is Tony Blair enjoying his holiday at the moment?
No.
No, every paparazzi in the whole wide world is peering through his letterbox to see if there's any bisexual shenanigans going on over there. Robin Gibb and his nice wife.
A what, Ben?
That's just actually really repulsive to think of Robin Gibb in the Naughty Naked Nude. It's like, ugh. That's just a crime against nature, isn't it, Luce?
He's not a sexy man, is he?
Not at all, no.
He's not hunky, I think that's the thing.
It's just actually really vile. It's kind of like a twiglet.
Phony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the image that we've got of him is was described in the Mail yesterday of him while all around lipstick lesbians were lounging on his soft furnishings, and he was sitting there, a poor, stick, thin figure of a man, staring into the fire, moping. How she knew that, how the reporter at the Daily Mail knew that that's what he was doing while all around was a party, I've got no idea. I think she might have been...
Spying.
Yes. Possibly making it up.
Yeah. Or having a jolly good time with the other women.
How could you? Who, the reporter? Or
the reporter.
Yeah.
In order to get an accurate article.
Yes, quite. She didn't make her excuses and leave. Well, because there's precious little else for the newspapers to report, they're still reporting this. Back in London, a political row raged over Blair's trip to the sun. It's all ending very poorly for him, isn't it? Mm. And if you were him, you'd think, well, I want to hang on until I can go out in a blaze of glory. But it's looking less and less like that's going to be possible. He's going to slink away with tears in his eyes, just like Maggie did. And it just doesn't look very good for him, really, does it?
It's not the best way to go.
Things can't only get better.
But the thing is, if he was in a blaze of glory, then he wouldn't want to leave anyway, would he?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if time's up anyway, and I bet if something great happens in the next couple of months, then he'll seize the opportunity to leave right then.
Better to go on a high.
Yeah, definitely. But at the moment, he's disappearing in an inglorious eddy.
He's going out the door backwards.
Yeah. Back in London, a political row raged over the Blair's trip to the sun. On his return, Mr. Blair faces the prospect of a parliamentary inquiry amid deepening confusion over who's paid for his holiday. This is just getting ridiculous. Because you know what? They all do it. Because they're MPs and they don't get paid millions of pounds, they're all sucking up freebies and basically anything they get their hands on. It's always been the case. It will always be the case. It comes with office. It's because they can. And just because Tony Blair's gone off to stay in some mate's house, it's being reported like it's the most shocking thing that any politician has ever done. They all do it. I bet if you polled every single MP as to where they were going on this holiday, so many of them would be picking up freebies, and it would probably be the very people who are foaming at the mouth and saying how outrageous it is that he's going over there. It's just kind of silly. And the whole the loans for peerages thing as well, that's daft as well. That's how it's always been done. That's just the way of business in this country.
Exactly. I don't think it's just with the MPs either. I mean, I think lots of people who are high up in lots of businesses probably are getting freebies all over the place.
It's the human condition. If we can get away with it, we will.
He has every right to as well, because that would never happen like here, you know. My bosses here didn't hold an inquiry because I went down to Cornwall this summer.
Or did you go for nothing?
No, but even if friends said, oh, come and stay with us, you know, why would my bosses care?
I hope you gave your train fare to charity.
Well, it would depend. If you were head of finance, for instance, and you were going to stay with a company that made plastic cups, and we were about to, put out a bid for the plastic cup supplier, and you went and stayed with a company that was making them, then, eyebrows might be raised.
Yes.
And that's what people are saying about
That's
this.
the thing with
Tony is only going to stay, the Gibbs are only having Tone over because they want him to change the law about when they will receive the money from their old tunes.
Yeah, past 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know what, it's always been the way.
And also, it doesn't necessarily mean because of the holiday that it'll make any difference to Tony.
Well, this has been and gone, this issue now, hasn't it? And they decided against it, isn't that right? Have I got that wrong or right? Against extending the 50-year limit on earning money for your old music. Which, first of all, there's two things, really. I think it's an outrage that there is some cut-off point at which you don't earn money for something that you did. Why? Why would that be the case? It's silly.
What about when you're dead?
And the second is, well, when you're dead, you don't care. You're dead. And the second is, how much money do these people need? I mean, Cliff Richard's moaning his face off about this stuff. He must have £1 billion in the bank. He's the biggest selling artist. Isn't that embarrassing? Cliff Richard is the biggest selling artist that this country has ever had.
Oh, no.
That is shocking, yeah. Don't you remember when Channel 4 did this, on a slow night, they always do on these top 10 lists? I think it was a top 20 of the best-selling singles artists of all time, and they were going down, and you're thinking, well, what's number one then? They've had the Beatles, they've had Elvis, they've had Engelbert Humperdinck, they've had, everyone that you could possibly think of, and you think, well, who's number one? I give it, it's not Madonna, we've had her, and they were teasing us and said, well, you won't be happy, but we'll reveal it after the break. And then this slow dawn of realisation, and you thought, no, it can't be. Yes, Cliff Richard himself is the biggest selling artist of all time in this country. What? How embarrassing.
I actually thought that Daniel O'Donnell had given him a good run for his money.
Daniel O'Donnell?
Because he has always sold out more for concerts than Cliff Richard has.
I wouldn't be able to pick Daniel O'Donnell out of a lineup.
He's just a young Cliff Richard.
I had him in not that long ago talking to Steve Allen, you know.
Who is Daniel O'Donnell? I've got no idea who that is.
No, Irishman. I'm trying to think of his songs now.
Well, see, there you go. That's how successful he is. No one has any idea.
He's hugely successful.
He always seems to be singing Danny Boy, doesn't he?
Danny Boy, yes, that is one. He often sings, but that's not one of his famous ones. Really, well, he has got.
Because he's not famous.
Yes.
He is. He's older women like him a lot.
Well, the same could be said for Cliff.
Well.
In fact, that's his entire audience, isn't it? Anyway, back to Tone. Well, the Bee Gees as well. Old women like the Bee Gees. Who likes the Bee Gees? I mean, apart from a couple of the hits from Saturday Night Fever, which were fantastic. Apart from that, nothing.
But just because you like the music doesn't mean you have to like the artist.
Or want to have sex with him and his weird wife. No. Norman Baker, a Liberal Democrat MP, and Philip Davis, a Tory backbencher, said that they decided to call an inquiry after Mr. Gibbs' wife, Dweena, claimed the Blairs had not been asked to pay for their stay in the 10-room waterfront home. With all the other stuff that's happening in this country, this is what they want to call an inquiry over. It's
Can you say her name again?
Dweena. That's what her name is.
Sounds funny.
Yesterday, Tony Blair visited the Big Pink restaurant in South Beach. Did he think this through? He went to the Big Pink restaurant in South Beach.
Are you very sure you're not homosexual?
That must be one of the biggest concentration of rainbow flags in the whole wide world. South Beach. Patrons said that Mr. Blair was relaxed, friendly, and, quotes, very approachable. Oh, yeah, right. Like, if Tony Blair was sitting in a restaurant, you could just go up and approach him without getting shot dead by his security staff. Approachable? That's just, we're not believing that, are we? Hands up who believes that you could actually just waltz up to his table and say, hey, Tone. Mr. Baker said, this Tory chap, he said, we need to put an end to this gravy train. It's shameless and entirely inappropriate for a Prime Minister to cadge free or cut-price holidays in this way. Like that. Don't try that, Chris. You have to be of a certain age to be able to try that. Otherwise you'll get ache of the face. Your jaws, your whole, your jowls have to loosen up with age before you...
I'm very jealous.
Before you can attempt that. Yes. But it is daft. I mean, on and on they're going. But however, if you were Tony Blair and the last time you pulled one of these stunts, everyone was outraged, don't you think that, now of all times, under as much flack as he is, he would have a quiet... time
Why not just wait until next year? Take the free holidays then.
Exactly.
No one will care.
I know. He'll have some fancy job next year as well that he'll be able to... I mean, it's not like he gets drummed out and never gets to talk to anybody in influence again. As soon as he leaves, he'll be richer and probably more powerful because he won't have the scrutiny of the nation anymore.
Could do his autobiography then.
He could have just waited 6 weeks and the freebies will be pouring through the doors.
They will.
It's 5:15, or as near as makes no difference. This is LBC, His Travel with Amanda Redmond.
Nick Abbott.
The Mail makes me laugh out loud now. See, they got, on this subject of Tony Blair going on his jolly hollies, because they've got nothing else to... There was a big article in the Mail today about how women should continue to do housework. They're forever trying to get women to do the housework, aren't they?
I know, I saw that one.
They seem obsessed with keeping women tied to the stove. But on one of the comment pages, there's a chap called Tom Utley, U-T-L-E-Y, who I believe is an MP from, probably a northern constituency. I'm guessing Yorkshire. In fact, he was probably named after the town of Utley. It's right near Ilkley, Otley, Batley.
Utley.
Anyway, he's talking about this, and he's saying that Tony's gone to, quotes, a multi-million-pound Florida mansion, a veritable palace of purple-carpeted kitsch, belonging to Robin Gibb, of that creepiest of 70s bands, the Bee Gees.
Does it say that?
That's exactly what you just said.
The creepiest?
Creepiest? That's not really fair, is it?
Very nice.
Creepy. I mean, they did look a bit weird, right enough, but not creepy. As in make your skin crawl. The Bee Gees. Lucy's thinking, well...
yeah, maybe.
You're thinking... Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lorraine.
Tom Utley continues, what offends me, and I dare say many millions of others, is the sheer grotesque unseemliness of the Blairs' choice of winter break. You'd expect it of someone like Wayne Rooney or Jade Goody from Big Brother, but the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and his wife, how could they want to see in the new year with Euro trash like the Gibbs, surrounded by all the vulgar opulence of a resort where the only values that count are money and fame? He's driving himself into some, like a purple-faced rage of indignation, this bloke, isn't he? The Blairs claim to be good friends with their host and hostess, but do they really know what sort of people they are? Dweena Gibb, we are told, is a bisexual, part-time druid priestess with a liking for leather, drag queens and lipstick lesbians. She and Robin have a marriage which he describes as totally open. And then he starts quoting her. If we find someone who sexually excites us, we can actually talk to each other about it. Oh, this is Robin Gibb speaking. We can discuss it without fear of feeling guilty. We don't live by the rules. What we do in our private lives may not be to many people's liking, but that's their problem. And he said, and Tom Utley says, and what do they do in their private lives? Mr. Gibb says, we like to cruise. And we like to watch. Oh, no. That's a little too much information for a Gibb, really,
yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, if it was the Rolling Stones, for instance, then you wouldn't mind. But the Gibbs?
Oh, I don't want to know if want to know anyone doing that, really.
All I can say, says Tom Utley, is that he hopes that the Blairs keep their bedroom door firmly locked during their stay, as though they would be in any danger.
Yeah, as if they'd accidentally join in or something.
Exactly, yes. Whoops, I've just fallen on a lesbian. How can the Prime Minister hope to be taken seriously on the world stage when as soon as he finishes making apocalyptic speeches about his mission for peace in the Middle East, he jets off to Miami for jamming sessions with a fading pop star who's into kinky sex.
He's not exactly fading, is he?
You know how much money he's got in the bank? Did I tell you this yesterday? 140 million quid.
Dollars or quid?
Pounds. That's just his share of the heebie-jeebies. Isn't that shocking?
Yeah.
If only we could come up with some tunes, Luce.
I know. Should we try and think of one for next Christmas?
Burton-on-Trent. 08.
Hello, Nick.
How are you?
Right, yeah, not too bad. I never, until recently, I've never known that the Bee Gees were like this. I always thought they were sort of like, a bit geeky.
Yeah, upstanding, boring types. Yeah.
Sound like somebody I'd like to hang out with.
Yeah.
They do sound fun.
Every piece of information that we're gleaning from the Daily Mail makes me want to go there more and more, yeah.
Who cares what they sing like?
I mean, he's trying to describe it as though everyone is recoiling in horror, but I imagine that everyone is reading it thinking, oh, blimey, whoa, they're thinking.
But it's just selling papers, so,
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Because at the one hand, they want all of the details so that they can tut over it, but on the other hand, they want all the details so that they can, get excited over it.
Yeah.
A dichotomy.
Yeah, anyway, you was on about, like gadgets and stuff earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. I fell victim. I don't know what made me buy this. I bought a portable DVD player. It's the most useless piece of equipment I've ever bought.
I got one free once, and it worked for almost the same amount of time as my laptop, which came from the company that starts with an S. If only I could remember which one it was. Yeah. It worked approximately as long as it takes to unpack it, and then it broke down comprehensively.
I mean, mine works, but that battery on that lasts 2 hours. And it's not like an MP3 player. You can walk around without. You're not going to walk around watching the DVD, are you?
So it only lasts 2 hours. So you're fresh out of luck if you want to watch Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
And I mean, the only thing is the idea of taking it to travel. I mean, for start, somebody else has got to be driving.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you say, it's 2 hours. Plus, you keep getting interruptions while others with you.
The problem with men, well, one of the many problems with men, Lucy will give us a list, but this is one of them, is that we are suckers for this sort of stuff. Anything that's a gadget, anything that's, that plugs in and has lights on it and buttons, we cannot get enough of them. I mean, I now, having used a mate's sat-nav thing, I now want one of those, even though the only trips I ever make are to Sainsbury's and back, and I know where that is.
I mean, that's the other thing. The thing where you fall down with them, I don't know if the more market ones deal with it. And if you go to an industrial estate or somewhere, sort of like companies are on, like, built in the middle of nowhere, industrial estates, they don't actually have an address, do they?
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. Why are you hanging out in industrial estates?
That's just like where I went and took my car the other week. That was,
little hot dogging action?
No, nothing like that. It's when I had an improvement made to it. That was in the middle of an industrial estate.
Right.
I mean, a lot of shops are now, you sort of electrical retailers and stuff are sort of in the middle
in fact, the very places that you would buy the thing in the initially, yeah. You'll never be able to find your way back.
But, yeah, I mean, the thing about watching a DVD, you've got to do it sort of in your own home, because the minute it drives it down, I mean, I've got a 7-inch one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, size don't matter. So you can't really see it either, because there's that sort of tiny, isn't there? And you can't concentrate on something that small.
Well, I think that weirdly about TVs, it's not the size of the screen that's the thing, it's the sound that comes off it. Because if you listen to it on headphones, or you surround yourself with one of those cinema things. Does he want a home cinema thing, Luce?
He's got one.
Oh, right. 5 speakers?
Yes. And he's just bought a huge amp. He bought a new one.
Oh, well, if it's a new amp, it might have 7.1 surround, which means that he's going to have to buy an extra 2 speakers to put at the sides. Because you'll have one at the front where the TV is for the speech, 2 on either side for the stereo, 2 at the back for the explosions, but then 2 at the side, which is 7.1 surround sound. And of course now, if it's a very modern amp, it might have 8.1, in which case you'll need another speaker directly behind you, in the middle of the 2 speakers at the back.
There's already one behind us.
You just live in a room with speakers in the end.
It's so ugly. I've said it's got to go in the cupboard. We're having a cupboard built so that we can hide it away. 'Cause it's so monstrous. Especially that woofer. Oh, dear.
The woofer. And here we are back at the dogs again. But that's our problem, is that no matter what it is, we see it and we want it, regardless of whether we're going to use it, because I do want an MP3 player, but I'll never actually use one. But the yearning to have one never goes away. In fact, I'll spend endless hours looking on computers about the latest one and what it does, and compare it with another one, and, oh, it's got this feature, this one's got FM radio, this one's got a feature that you can press a button and record your own voice on. When will I ever use that?
Yeah, well,
never. But it's I don't know. I just want it really badly. And the amount of and they all cost £1,000. I want a DVD. I want a hard disk DVD player. I want a high definition TV. I want a hard disk high definition personal video recorder. I want a high definition video camera. I want it just goes on.
How many have you got on the list that you can cross off?
How many of those?
Have you got any of those?
None of those.
Okay. So you haven't actually got too many gadgets.
Oh, I've got
just a longing.
No, I've got loads of them, but they're crucially they don't have the letters after the ones that I just said. They don't have HD, and
I see.
I want to replace all the ones that I've got with ones that are better.
What would you do with it all? Sell it?
I would keep it in the cupboard along with the ones that. Oh, you mean the old ones?
Yeah.
Oh. I've given it to my mum.
Oh, right.
and it would sit in the corner, just like everything else that I've ever given them that's electronic. It would sit in the corner, and it's like, oh, it's very good. Does it work? Oh, yes, it works very well. Have you switched it on yet? Oh, no, haven't switched it on yet. Got no idea how to work it. Comes with a manual about the size of a telephone directory, and, if you call any piece of electronic equipment the wireless, you're never going to get on with it, are you?
No. Somebody I worked with DVD once, and he brought it back and says, "Oh," he said, "I really enjoyed it, but he said, it really got me back up, because I was half hour trying to figure out how to rewind it." You must come to a point in your life where that happens. I think it's already happening, like you say, with computers. It's all over my head. So
I waited for the longest time before I got a computer. The whole wide world had a computer before I did, because I thought, I don't know how to work it, so it will be instantly frustrating, so I'll just wait until they're so simple that the world's stupidest human would be able to take it out of a box and immediately work it. And you know what? I could probably wait until I'm 150 years old, and that will never happen, will it?
No.
That's why we have technical support. Thanks a lot, Aid.
Yeah, okay, I'll speak to you soon.
Ta-ra.
Nick Abbott.
London's LBC 97.3.
He is a very sick and dangerous man.
Of course, the other thing you'll need, Luce, is a subwoofer. Or did you already mention that?
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I said woofer. Is that a subwoofer?
Subwoofer, yeah.
It's like that big or something?
Giant 3-foot cube of a
The
thing.
amp, though, we had a sound system before, but the amp was included in the woofer.
Yeah.
But this time, he's gone and bought a separate system and then had to buy a separate amp.
Stop whining!
And he said to me, "Isn't it beautiful?"
Yeah.
No.
What make is it?
Sony.
Right.
But I was like, no,
Without mentioning any brand names,
Sorry.
Sony, you say?
asked me.
Not Yamaha or Lexicon, Sony, was it?
I'm sure they're all very good. Anyway, it's just a chunk of metal sitting in our sitting room.
Now, see...
Ugly.
The blokes are salivating just at the very thought of it. An 8.1 surround sound system, Luce. You're going to have speakers on every vertical surface.
I don't know if it's 8.1. I don't know what it is. But...
lump of metal.
It's great, when you've got a DVD on, you can hear the birds singing behind us.
Birds? What kind of a DVD are you watching? Birds?
What kind of background?
Birds? Don't you mean explosions?
Yeah, and of course, he has to fix it up to the computer, so whenever friends are around, we have to have music in surround sound too.
Yeah.
Everything is surround sound.
Affirmative.
And what annoys me more, it's not the actual system itself, because it does sound good, so I will give it that, but the wires and the cables behind look so ugly. I mean, why can't they make these systems so that you don't have cables everywhere? Because you just see it pouring out the back and you have to push it around and, oh, it's ridiculous. Like, if it was me, living on my own, I'd just have a normal TV, terrestrial, 5 channels, and a DVD player, and that'll be it.
That's because you're not a bloke,
stuff.
Luce. You don't need that stuff. We need it. We want it. We yearn for it. Isn't that right?
And it costs a bomb.
Yes.
Then you have to pay for all the, you know, satellite and cable or whatever in
and
addition.
by this time next year, it'll all be out of. It will be.
But it always has to be the best stuff. You can't just have a normal cable service. You've got to have the one with Sky Sports because he's got to be able to watch the football all the time. What's the point if I've got to pay for the football every time? Oh, well, like you're not watching football every day. Why don't we just pay for it when you need it?
How long have you guys been married?
Nearly 2 years. But we've been together for 6.
Here's Bracknell. Hey, Jerry.
Hello, mate. You alright?
Has it been one constant argument for the last 8 years, then, Luce?
No.
Right, okay. Hey, Jerry.
Hello. Her husband sounds dull as dishwater. Listen.
Well, we're only getting one side of the argument, of course.
Well, I wasn't going to talk about this. I was going to talk about something else. I'm a bloke, right? Obviously, I live on my own, right? I've got a TV with a built-in DVD player, and that is it. Right, a little tiny stereo, a little Walkman DAB radio, and that is about it. Right, I'd rather go out and have a laugh with my mates and sit indoors and watch DVDs and TV and all the rest of it.
Well, see, Lucy doesn't allow her husband to go out and have a laugh with his mates.
Well, this is the problem with most men, isn't it? This is the problem. See, like, I've been single for about a year and a half now, but prior to that I had a girlfriend, and she had a little girl, so we didn't get out much. And it just drove me insane in here, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm going to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not staying in.
Right. Well, you see, once you get to a certain age and you have certain responsibilities, you don't want to go out anymore, and so you start to feather your own nest, which, if you're a woman, means you go and buy cushions and throws and all that sort of stuff. And if you're a bloke, you go for things that have got winking lights on them.
No, I don't think I will myself, because it's just stuff, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If I had children, I'd go out and, you know, I'd be out the park with them every night or whatever, rather than buying them gadgets and all that rubbish. That's just...
Well, I don't know. I think Pester Power would force you to go out to Curry's and buy everything that's on the shelves. Meow, I want this and I want that and I want a game machine.
No, you just say no, innit? And then in the end they stop asking.
Well, I think that in theory, saying no works, but theory doesn't often work in practice, which is why...
You've got to keep on, you've got to be strong, haven't you?
Yeah, good luck with that, Jerry, yeah. All right, thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers, buddy, bye now. Mate?
It works in theory saying no to kids, but having, I know a lot of people with kids, and theory doesn't work in practice, right? Which is why their houses are absolutely stuffed with bright plastic toys when they're young, because I want whatever they are, Tonka toy. Do they still make Tonka toys?
I don't know. What's a Tonka toy?
What's a Tonka toy?
I don't know what a Tonka toy is.
Oh, come on. Even Carol knows what a Tonka toy is.
Yeah. What's a Tonka toy?
A Tonka toy, they were, it was like a miniaturised lorry, traditionally, like a dumper truck. You know what a dumper truck is?
Yes, yes.
A tiny scale model of a dumper truck.
Yeah.
That, crucially, you could sit an elephant on. It was so strong.
Right. But that was a boy's toy.
Well, naturally, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was busy playing with stickle brick.
What's that?
You know, stickle brick. Like a bit like Lego. But it's plastic, and you could kind of stick it together. And you didn't have to do it conventionally, because it had lots of sticky out bits. So you could put it all around.
Oh, well, that sounds like the sort of thing that would make you an architect or an engineer or something. It doesn't sound like a girly thing at all.
No, well...
Shouldn't you have been making tea in your little doll's house?
Probably doing that too.
You're making a doll's house out of stickle sticks, whatever they're called.
Stickle bricks.
Stickle bricks, right.
Yeah. They were good. You'd have liked stickle bricks. They were quite boyish as well.
Well, I had a Meccano set once, but I just couldn't be bothered with it. In the same manner that I couldn't be bothered with Airfix toys. Just too fiddly, and, you know, I'd like it to come out of the box assembled.
Did you ever play Scalextrics? Scalextrics, that sort of
I didn't ever have one, but...
Scalextric.
No, that's another thing that my parents didn't allow me to have. They were rubbish, though, in my youth when I used to play those, because at the first corner, they'd be off, and then your interest would wane really quickly.
Well,
and it would just be going around and
that's
around
just part of the game. That's part of the game, is you got to put it on.
Race one another.
Well, you got to know, yeah, but if it falls off, you got to put it back on as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it fell off, it was like, yeah, what else? Next.
Did you get bored easily?
Very easily, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Unless I was, staring out the window or staring at the corner of my room.
Were you doing a lot of staring?
Melancholy and sad, and that's all.
Daydreaming.
Yeah, the world, like a cat. Like a cat will sit staring at the wall for hours, one endless hour, and you look at it and you think, what the hell are you thinking? It's not got its eyes closed, it's just staring at the wall. What is going on in your little cat brain, you're thinking?
Your parents must have been very worried.
Here is one of the, near the Blackwall Tunnel. Les.
Yeah, hi, how you doing? Just remind the panel, the saying was, Tonka toys. The real tough toys for real tough boys.
Is the right answer, yes.
Remember that?
I do, yeah. And they were bright yellow, right?
There were loads of them. They lasted for years.
Did they?
Yeah.
Do they still make those?
Oh, I shouldn't think so now.
Right.
It's been taken over.
They don't work with electricity, so no one's interested in them anymore.
Ah, that's right.
All right, thanks, Les.
Hornby Dumbo went out of business, isn't it?
Hornby and, all of those old good names.
Yeah, that's right. See you later. Bye-bye.
Memories, what memories? Strolling down a lane we are. What was your favourite toy then, Chris?
Mine was Lego.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Huh?
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with Lego.
Some bloke just spent the last 50 years constructing a battleship out of Lego. Did you see that in the papers today?
No.
It's about 12 foot long, this thing. It has 850 million Lego pieces in it, or something approaching that.
I was never that ambitious.
Right.
Never that ambitious with Lego. All I could build was maybe a little Lego car, or I used to get those, like, little Lego police stations and stuff like that.
Actually, I can picture you in a policeman's helmet.
Can you?
Yeah.
I can too, actually.
Isn't that weird? You do look like a member of the law.
Okay.
You look like you could be very responsible.
Well,
but I've seen otherwise.
Oh, really?
Only when he's out at the Christmas party.
Yeah, when was the last time you ate that little chef?
Oh, yeah, no, not for ages.
When I went up the M1 about 5 years ago, I think.
They are doomed. They're going out of business, the Little Chef. The familiar smiling face of Little Chef's chubby logo by the motorway may soon be a thing of the past. Good. They sucked. They were awful. Little Chef. Who would out of choice, go and eat in one of them? I mean, if it wasn't in a motorway service station, if it was in your high street, for instance, would you sit around the living room and look at each other and say, let's go and have a meal in Little Chef?
No.
I mean, who would actually say that?
It's burgers and chips, basically, isn't it? And beans.
They're 235 strong chain. 235 of them. That's amazing. That they would be... that says a lot about the what we'll put up with in this country, that there'd be so many of them and be so successful for so long. Like, we continued to go there, and nobody really must have liked it. I mean, be honest.
No, it served a purpose. You could get a coffee, you could fill your face,
well,
have
you could
a
get a warm brand drink that was sold as coffee. But no Italian or Frenchman would describe it as such, would they?
No, but we're a lot fussier now, aren't we?
Spitting it out.
But you'd only get it because it was the only thing around.
Exactly. Faced with increasing competition from newly revamped service stations, I don't do a lot of travelling, which is one of the reasons why I don't need one of these sat-nav things. I want one, but I don't need one. So I just put it on my list of things that, I want but I don't need, and will probably never use. But I can remember the last time I went on a motorway journey. They're all they're like shopping centres now. They've got like M&S. Oh, Lucy's going to sneeze. I've ruined it for you.
I hate that feeling. I've been trying to put it off for ages. I can feel the tickle up my nose.
Well, I hate it when you think you're going to and then you don't. It's such a disappointment.
Because it's so satisfying
well,
to have a
it
good
is,
sneeze.
isn't it? Especially if you're on your own or you're not in polite company and you don't have to put your hand up and you can really let one go.
Yeah, do it really loud.
It's like a whole body sneeze. Yeah, there's just something tremendously satisfying about that. And then for a couple of seconds afterwards, you can't focus. It's like, wow, that was great.
Little pleasures.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Little Chef. Shall we return to the Little Chef after, appropriately enough, the travel? It's 5:45. Here's Amanda Redmond.
Nick Abbott.
Well, let's get back to it.
So, there's 235 of these little chefs, which is just, actually that's quite embarrassing for us as a nation, that's what characterises our taste in food, really. I mean, the French would never put up with this. I bet not one little chef exists in France, or anything even remotely like it. You could probably get the most slap-up meal you've ever had in your life at a truck stop in France.
Sorry.
It means we've got too many motorways.
No, I don't know. I don't agree with that, but in France, they've just got lots of different independent places where you stop, but they're not all chains.
Exactly.
That's
and what a
what's
difference
nicer.
that makes.
Yeah.
Faced with increasing competition from newly revamped service stations, which, like I said, are like shopping malls now, aren't they? They've got M&S in there and, all sorts of exciting things to do in between what you actually wanted to do, which is just stretch your legs and pee. That's the only reason we stop, isn't it? Almost half its restaurants have been forced to close in the last 5 years. The chain's been struggling for years in the face of a healthy eating drive, and increased competition from fast food chains, and an image problem. You see, everyone wants to get, is everyone fat conscious now? And the image problem is right there on the logo. They've got a fat guy, on the sign, who seems to be holding aloft a plate of cream. Either that or it's one of those, silver service dishes. Which is just laugh out loud funny, a Little Chef, isn't it?
The fact that it's called Little Chef, though.
Yeah, right. Not cook, chef. The fast food chain recently announced a massive increase in profits, did McDonald's, after they went all salad crazy. Did they? I thought that became a gigantic failure for them. They had to go back to basics, or selling burgers now, with extra fat.
No, I think they're still upping the old salad advertising.
Little Chef was started. See, this is all we need, Luce. It's just an idea. An idea like this.
Like the song we're composing.
Yeah, that's right. The chain was started as an 11-seat snack bar in 1958 in Reading by a 34-year-old caravan maker, and then grew and grew and grew until it became 235 chains big. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
The cafes were most popular in the 1980s, attracting families and businessmen looking for a break on a long journey. I think the word attracting is a false one there. I think it was just that none of us had any choice.
But then it must have been a good thing, mustn't it? If you had nothing...
No, it was never a good thing. No, I went to one of these things recently, and I looked at the food, and I looked at the people behind the counter, and I thought, no. I think the safest thing would be to buy a cup of coffee and have a chocolate bar, like that was wrapped. And the chocolate bar was, like English chocolate-like product, and the coffee was so bad I'd throw it away.
Did you?
That was my last experience of Little Chef. It was just brown water, basically, and had no relationship to coffee at all. But, so now they're going out of business. They're at their last hurrah. Like that. Here is Dartford. Nathan.
Hello, Nick. How's you, mate?
I'm all right, thanks.
Just picking up on something you very briefly spoke about earlier on today, but throughout the week, technical support for computers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually, for my sins, professional computer technician, so I very rarely ever need technical support. But at the moment, I'm migrating from one service provider to another.
Oh, you have my sympathy.
Oh. And I'm going from one provider whose name is a breed of an animal to another one who you sort of look up at if you get my meaning without mentioning brand names.
Does the first one begin with a B?
Yep.
I hate them.
Well, at least it's a free call.
Right.
For the technical support, I mean.
Yes.
But I'm trying to migrate to this other provider, and you get through to people who actually can't understand your own language, which really is a help in this situation.
Yeah, quite.
And you sort of say, I've got, so-and-so broadband, I go, what's that? And seriously, I've had no broadband at all since this morning, which for a computer technician is obviously like having your...
Since this morning, I thought you were going to tell me a real story, like that you haven't had any broadband for the last 3 months.
No, but I have dealt with people with other companies who've had exactly that. And
because I want to leave my current broadband provider, because I've been, like I mentioned a couple of days ago, I've been trying to get them to stop charging me twice what they're charging every other customer. Why they're doing it to me, I've got no idea. Everyone else pays £25 for the service they provide me. I pay 50 quid a month. For no reason other than that they can. And so I've been asking since September for them to stop charging me double. And every time I get onto the phone with these people, it's at least an hour's, procedure to get through to someone and actually have them, converse with you in a rational way. And they always say, oh yes, okay, problem solved, absolutely no repetition of this, and your bills will be halved and we'll credit you the money. And every month I get the bill and not a thing has changed, and they're still charging me 50 quid 4 months later. And I must have been on the phone at least for, I don't know, a total of 12 hours. It must be at least 12 hours I've been on the phone to these people. They owe me, at an hourly rate, 120 quid.
Yeah, it is just sheer frustration. When I've been on the phone most of today on a nice national rate number to this other service provider, and I said, I've got my little light on for broadband, I'm a computer technician, I've got, some idea of what I'm doing, and I said, can you at least give me the address for the router so I can try and tap into it and that sort of thing, which means probably nothing to you, but it should mean something to them. And it was like, what is this bloke talking about? What drugs has he been taking? No, I could have actually gone over there and done the job better myself.
Yeah.
And it is just, I'm so depressed, I'm thinking of going up to New Year's Eve, up to London on New Year's Eve.
Don't do it.
What, have you done it?
Well, I'm in London on New Year's Eve.
No, have you sort of gone up to Trafalgar Square and...
Oh, yeah, I did all that. And at Trafalgar Square, it's uniquely unimpressive, because in Trafalgar Square you cannot hear Big Ben. And so everyone's watches are different, and there is no, there is no bell for everyone to get queued at the same time. And so there's just this ripple of cheer that goes around. There's oh no, it's a couple of minutes to go, and then someone else watch says that it's bang on time, and so there's no focus to the night. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a spectacle. How about the fireworks? Does that not make up for it?
Well, I thought that the fireworks only lasted long enough for TV coverage. When they first did it, I'm sure that it only lasted 5 minutes, and people had travelled from far and wide, and they couldn't believe that it was over that quick. But we had someone who went last year that said it was a 20-minute show, so I'm prepared to believe they're doing the right thing.
Oh, right.
But even so, I don't recommend it, Nathan. Stay where you are.
Even with the storms.
Batten the hatches, exactly. All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers, ta-da, Nick.
Ta-da. We've got the Top 100 coming up after the new news. This is LBC.
Nick Abbott. Yowza.
Is one on or near the Blackwall Tunnel? Paul?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to defend Little Chefs.
Do you?
Yeah.
Go on, then.
Well, I think they're a great little stop-off, actually, and there's nothing I like better than a stop-off at a Little Chef and have one of their Olympic breakfasts with a mixed side of fried bread.
An Olympic breakfast? Well, as eaten by athletes?
Well, they call it an Olympic breakfast. I wouldn't recommend it if you're an athlete, to be honest.
That sounds... what does that consist of, by the way?
Oh, it's bacon, eggs, beans, sausage, mushrooms, potatoes.
Right, the healthy start to the day. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Your next stop would be the crematorium. Yeah.
Well, there's worse things than dying, you know.
Being stuck in the Blackwall Tunnel?
Well...
Yes.
Right. No, that's not worse, but I mean, you know.
Paul, I think...
No, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy little breakfast, Little Chef breakfast, you know?
Are you married?
Not anymore, no.
No, right. So it's only good in comparison with the food that you cook yourself.
Well, I'm a chef, actually.
Oh. How big are you?
How big am I? 5'10" and weigh about 15 stone.
He's not little...
I'm overweight, but not desperately.
So you're not a little chef, but you look like the guy on the logo.
Right. Not really quite as porky as me. Actually, I had an uncle who used to call him a little pig.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, it's a little introduction to the rest of his family. This is getting worse and worse. Paul, I've got to go. All right, you're cracking up. Here's one in Waltham Abbey. Oh, Andy?
Hello, Nick.
Andy.
Hi, 2 seconds to add another thank you to Little Chef, because I have had a good cup of coffee in there. They used to do little cafetières, and they did fresh coffee.
Oh,
And I've had some bad
cafetières.
experiences in London
Oh,
where you
get
ask for an
them.
espresso,
French yet?
and you get a bad coffee at even some supposed Italian delis.
If it's a bad coffee, then it's not an Italian deli. I went all over everywhere in the north of Italy, and I had coffee from stands in parks where you would not normally in this country you wouldn't even approach. You know, a stand that has sweets and all that sort of stuff, and sell ice cream and so on. And the best ice cream you've ever had in your entire life. You wouldn't buy an ice cream from a stand in a park in this country, would you? Nor would you buy a coffee. You'd have to be off your chum.
I disagree. Do you not remember Marine Ices?
Marine Ice, what, in Belsize Park?
Well, they've supplied to cafes I know in parks in London, because I used to serve them myself.
Like I said, you want to buy ice cream in parks in London, it's without peer. Absolutely fantastic. Everyone keeps going on about Marine Ices. Are they really that good?
Marine Ices, they're the Italian one.
I know they are. Michael Winner is forever banging on about them, and I used to live just down the road from them, and I still never tried it.
Right. No, it's just that with coffee, I have had good experiences in Little Chef. I'm sorry that you hate them so much.
Well, so does everybody else. No one's going there anymore, and they're all closing. It's not just me.
Yeah, well, we've had good business there, but as far as coffee's concerned, you can't beat grinding your own. I've got a 3-year-old who grinds our own coffee beans when we get them in at home, and we got one of those little spungy
I'm calling social services.
a handheld crank, and we put the little kid, he loves grinding it.
Oh, does he also clean the chimneys? That's awful, Luce. Trace this call. Shocking. I miss when they used to have pictures of food. Like Wimpy's was my all-time favourite.
Oh, when you saw the plate before you had it.
For some reason, that's right. They'd have it plasticized picture of the food that you were going to have, and I can't remember what it was called. Perhaps Dr. Freud would help me out on this one, but the one that I particularly liked was when they bent the sausage around the tomato.
Oh, yeah, what was that called? That's going to annoy me all day now. With the little cuts in it all the way around.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Approximately how big do you think that sausage was, Luce?
We're looking at 10 inches.
On FM, on DAB, and online. This is LBC 97.3.